Welcome in Blue Otter Premier League. We've got a slightly different start point for you. We've did our best to throw things together. A bit of miscommunication on the fronts on when our lower bracket semifinal was going to happen. Means we had to kind of throw things together. And so I'm Isaac, joining alongside me today as both the color caster and producer. Double timing the workload over there is Loki. Where
I'm trying to set up audio now, my bad, man.
Yeah, that's perfectly understandable. But luckily we are actually able to bring the lower semifinal between Final Boss and Conduit. Final Boss, who have, for the most part, for the early portion of the season, not been all that great, but a late game scaling from them, a late season turn of form. The roster change bringing Sutek into the lineup has certainly been a good roster move for them, though it is not quite the full roster at the start of the game today, as Yikol will be subbing in for the top lane. Meanwhile, on the side of Conduit, they are operating on a basically full strength roster.
Oh, this Conduit roster is very, very powerful. With like Nasian and Derizen, Chromalone, Barolo, Noodles for two, great roster, but that's the only one that I know of. But Yika on the side of Final Boss is the absolute GOAT, so
yeah,
that's what I know about this team.
Yeah, on the side of Final Boss, their team for the most part, at least according to Rue when he first started this season, is one that has kind of been brought together through draft leagues, and so are relatively new to the more organized space. So the fact that they've been able to make it this far, and hold to that thought, Sutek one trying to find gank onto Barolo under the towers, targeting still onto the Leon. I'm going to have to flash away. Flay going to bring them much closer. The exhaust onto Chromalone will delay the damage for a little bit longer, but Nasian now arriving for the counter gank onto Bussen Poots, who immediately flashes away. Will get himself out. No deaths either way, but a lot of blinking health bars.
We didn't really get to talk about draft since, I'm not gonna lie, I was sleeping when this started, so, we got something on the top lane here.
Yeah, Noodles for two with a decently advantage health bar. Ignite dropped by Yikol, ticking down onto Noodles for two. Going to get his Cube Rock, flash forward, gets the mark, the E tick down. We'll get a first blood for Yikol in that top lane, in which both top laners have opted for, hold that thought, Rue going to be head on by Barolo. One more auto attack from Chromalone on the rocket jump, secures the kill for the bot lane of Conduit in the 2v2. Yikol taking tower shots, going to look to execute to ensure that he gets a push in.
That's
interesting strat, but
decision. It's a
choice.
Mean,
technically, I put it this way. It takes 8 seconds to recall, in which you didn't have to move back away from, and the death is a 10-second timer, so it might actually be a second or two faster for him to have executed there. Like, genuinely, as we joke about like the fast recall with the deaths, that genuinely that actually might have been a genuine fast recall from Yikol.
Hey, you know what? I can respect it if it's gonna help with like the fast recall, you know, whatever. The kill doesn't go over to Noodles for two, so there really is no like gold lost here. If you think about it.
Yeah. Like actually, that is a very serious statement that you call taking the execute there. It's I kind of like it. I'm not gonna lie. I like the because he was definitely put himself in the position too. He got a -1 on the cannon, forcing it. But you know,
you win some, you lose some here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he'll definitely have a nice wave for himself. Wave state over Noodles for two, which is especially important as neither top laner has opted for that teleport, with two relatively high damage dealers up in the top lane. Could definitely spiral this lane out of control, and considering where Yikol has the wave positioned for himself, definitely in a really good spot for the top lane or Final Boss. Okay, hold on. Turn the waters. Go ahead and hit Ishan. Derizen though only got.
I gotta say, Fizz is an interesting pick in that mid lane. Like, I feel like it's a very solo queue champion, which, I mean, it could definitely be brought into competitive play, obviously, we're gonna see it this game, but for me, Fizz always, like, seems like more like a solo queue champion.
Yeah. I mean, think most most assassins kind of fit that bill. In general, when you're seeing like the Rengar getting locked in, like
Right.
definitely kind of struggles in a more organized environment where it's a lot harder to find just random members straggling around, especially when you're looking at the composition of Final Boss. Because I know we didn't get the draft, but it was the first pick for Final Boss where they went for the Syndra, and this Fizz was the immediate response, and so that gave Final Boss the option to lock in a lot of really beefy champions with the likes of the Maokai, and even to an extent the Thresh and the Garen. Before we get to that, speaking of the Maokai, Sutek will be caught out, going to press a Q down, knock Nation and Derizen away, but is very low, taking down with the Ignite. Ishan going to hold on to the Scatter of the Week for a while, and a little bit too long, because Derizen will be able to get the kill onto Sutek.
Yeah, that's definitely not a champion that you want kills stacked on, for sure. A Fizz is not something you want to funnel gold into this early in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I've played enough solo queue to see what big Fizzes can do. It lands a max range chum the water. It's not exactly the champ's abilities we say all too often. It's pretty rare to see, but you hit that from distance onto the likes of Ishan or Bus and Poots, and they immediately get deleted, which they're going to attempt to do onto Bus and Poots now. Hook going to hit the mark onto Chrome Alone, and actually the turnaround won't quite get the final few bits of damage needed onto Chrome Alone to be able to secure the return kill in the gank on the side of Final Boss. Dawning Shadow searching for Chrome Alone, not going to find him.
Alright, I'm locked in now. I've finally figured out the audio. Everyone just...
Okay, awesome. It's good to hear.
Alright, so we're at 1-2. The gold is actually really not that far apart. It's about 1,000 gold lead, you know, give or take some.
Well, it actually might get a little bit worse because Sutek will be caught out trying to invade. It's a good dodge on the Scatter of the Week from Derizen, holding on his untargetability as long as possible to make it 3-1 to Conduit. Sutek once again just pushing his luck a little bit too far.
I'm a little confused as to why we are invading the jungle of Wukong as Maokai, but I'm not a jungler and I can respect the attempt here. It does look like Conduit's starting up these grubbies.
Yeah, I mean, without the jungler available, it's very easy going over. Rue going to be caught out by the Zenith Blade. Solar Flare drops onto Bus and Poots, but a good use of the exhaust before it lands onto Chrome Alone prevents any sort of kill pressure. That's this really aggressive bot lane duo that Conduit has drafted for themselves.
Absolutely. Very aggressive. Leona Tristana, there's not much more of a men go in comp that you could have drafted here.
Yeah, and they will try to do that once again, but a good play from Rue keeps Barolo at range once again. With health bars ticking down, they might look to go in on the side of Conduit's bot lane once again. But they kind of have to do this permanently, especially as Bus and Poots, as the game goes on, will eventually start to become a little bit difficult to actually get onto from the side of Conduit.
Let's see, we can see where these Senna Souls are at about 26 for Syndra. We're at 40 Flickers of Wrath, so got some stacking going on the side of Final Boss.
Yeah, and importantly, Bus and Poots using the slight extra range of the Senna to a pretty good advantage at a farm advantage on Senna, not something you see every day. It's a bit of a unknown, new territory.
Right.
But hold on, for that thought, Yukall waiting in the bush, going to be doing Garen things I noticeable too. You know what? I've got baited. That's my bad.
You got baited.
You know, sometimes when you see a Garen waiting in a bush and you see the enemy laner walk too far forward, you kind of go like, ooh.
I'm looking at Noodle for Two's mana bar, and I was like, I don't think that he really wants that smoke, but...
Either way, next Drake going to be spawning in a minute. Ishan going to be hit by the Chum the Waters. Derizen will be able to walk out of the range of the tower aggro in time. Flash away on the Syndra as well. Going to be putting a huge target on the back of Ishan.
Noodles for 2 and Yikon definitely going back and forth. I feel like this is a more volatile lane than the Tristana lane right now.
I mean, yeah, Senna definitely a really good neutralizer, and especially if you can get ahead in the farm on the Senna is, again, as said, not something you see particularly often. Obviously, Chromalone with the BF sword in inventory will get himself a decent bit more AD, but I mean, take a look at items. My eyes shift over to the mid lane. Derizen having his Lich Bane completed. Definitely problematic for Ishan.
And 3 stacks on that Darksteel. It's like one of the most powerful items right now. Oh,
especially if you can
Yika.
get a few items under the mark. Demacian just is not going to hit the mark. The Fear Beyond Death not needed from Noodles for 2. The tower shot was enough, but committed either way. Solo kill over to the top lane of Conduit, sees them 5-1 up in terms of kills at this point. Ishan in trouble. Derizen over the wall, spots out the Syndra. Scatter the Weak will push Derizen away though, and get the inside track onto the Drake in favor of Final Boss. No, do they start it up? It could be very dangerous for them if they do. They've got all the 4 other members of Conduit, not named Noodles or 2, arriving. Nature's Grasp going to be used to try to find its way forward on Derizen. Chum the Water is going to hit the mark onto Ishan. Dive before it even matters though. Derizen going to want to find the kills. Nation finds it onto Puss and Poots to make it 2 for nothing the way of Conduit. And with the Drake going the way of Conduit, presumably, unless Sutek finds a miracle steal, which he does not. Sends their gold advantage up to 3K at 12 minutes with 2 Drakes under their belt and all 3 grubs. So far, I mean,
this is something you really want
very
to
much
see
Conduit.
as your final boss.
No, it is not. It is not at all. And honestly, not necessarily all what I was expecting coming into this game 1, considering how good Final Boss has been ever since the, well, I guess the last 2 weeks of the season.
I was very
week
surprised.
6.
Yeah. However, Conduit has had a decent showing recently.
Oh, Chromalone though.
But Chrome.
Yep. I mean, the hook from Rue, I mean, it didn't even matter. Puss and Poots gifted the kill over by the side of Rue and Sutek. And we getting even more gold onto the Senna, who spikes extremely hard at 2 items and then doesn't look back at that point, accelerating Puss and Poots to this point.
The Senna usually build
really
a
good
tier?
for Conduit, for Final Boss. Usually, I feel like it's a 50-50,
Okay.
or maybe even slightly 60-40 in terms of tier, because Senna is decently mana, like, locked.
Right.
But usually the tier does, if they do go over the tier, it's not going to be completed until 3rd item. Yikon going to have to flash away from the Fear Beyond Death as well, so not doing also good in this top lane after that previous solo kill, but Sutek going to be arriving with the Nature's Grasp. A really early Nature's Grasp, but is not going to land the mark onto Noodles for 2. Hold on, Ishan going to hit by the Chum the Waters, and we move up to the top lane once again. Yikon in trouble, blinking health bar. Nation arriving to secure the kill, and Sutek quick to follow up, has to flash away immediately. Nation follows with his own, but Sapling slows down Nation's advance placed from the earlier gank, so will not be 2 kills on the side of Conduit, but still disastrous for Final Boss.
Yeah, this is looking a little rough for the side of Final Boss, but hey, I've seen bigger swingbacks than this, so, you know, there is where there's a will, there's a way. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's take a look at stacks here after this fight.
I don't think it'll be much of one. Noodles for 2 does not have the Fear Beyond Death, and Sutek has the comfort of the tower. Will slow his clear down a little bit and ensure that Conduit can pick up the Rift Herald for themselves uncontested. Add even more to their 4.5K gold lead. You know, quick math, sometimes Not necessarily on point, but still 4.5k gold to the side of Conduit this early on, with every single neutral objective going their way so far, Loki.
Yes,
It has been very controlled from them, and it's going to be a tough road back for Final Boss.
Alright, we've got 39 souls in Senna, and we've got 57 splinters of wrath with Syndra right now, and apparently thanks to Kills in Twitch chat said that tier build is new and it works well with Jack of all trades. So apparently
yeah.
Alright, so good news is that we have Pelly here to replace me, so you guys don't have to listen to me ramble. So Pelly, thank you.
What I miss?
Yes. Not much. Conduit. It kind of speaks for itself. Conduit sitting up at a 5k gold lead at 16 minutes with every single neutral objective. Belly is
Oh, that's
yeah,
not great for Final Boss.
That is not ideal. No, by any means.
Give me a second to absorb these comps here. Gotta gather my thoughts.
That's fair. Yeah, if you want to know, the Fizz from Derizen was an R1 pick in response to the B1 Syndra of Final Boss.
Okay. Sure.
Obviously, the elephant, or I guess the fish in the room, is Derizen on the Fizz. It's not something that you see every day, even out of Derizen, to be fair.
I'm surprised that Senna didn't get B1 then, because that champ is sort of crazy right now.
Yeah, Senna is, yeah, the,
I guess there's more prio on Syndra, but from what I'm seeing from KDA alone, so grain of salt, not exactly working for them on that prio. I also see Maokai jungle, which I'm a big fan of. The problem is, we went the wrong first item.
Well, we'll see what it can do here, regardless of the Protoplasm Harness or not. Noodles for 2 going to have to flash away, but the follow-up with the Demacian Justice rains down on Noodles for 2. Yiko going to get himself a nice injection of gold.
Alright, that's a shutdown to the Garen, so his side lane adventure is going to be a little bit easier. Now, I believe he probably has a gold lead, especially after taking this top tower with the bounty on the top laner and the plates and the tower as well. Yeah, he's going to have a gold lead up in top side. So their top side can be sort of strong-sided for the split pusher right now to try and pull them across the map and try to find their way back into the game that way. That's probably their best angle right now.
Yiko, as you mentioned, going to be claiming the objective bounty, and with that shutdown, the objective bounties are not long for this world. Actually cuts down the gold advantage that Conduit had from around 5k down to 3.5. As you mentioned, Yiko, such a historic player in general, a legacy player, not only in Blue Water Premier League, but I mean, anyone who has been in and around amateur North American League of Legends is a name that's, I've been familiar with for, gosh, how long has Yiko been in, like, the scene? Feels like forever.
Oh, we take the tower shots. Okay, we didn't commit to it, but now we are. I feel like off of those tower shots that Urgot just took under tower, we could have sort of just ran him down. We're going to try to start it now, though.
Yeah, and we'll attempt to do that. Before we get to that, Sutek might be in a bit of trouble on the Maokai, going to use a Nature's Grasp to slow things down from Conduit. Dawning Shadow not going to help Derizen at all, and another Demacian Justice hits onto Noodlesville 2 for the execute. Derizen in a bit of trouble, will dodge out the unleashed power from Ishon, flashing forward for that, going too far forward. Buster shot from Carl Malone, will claim it. Over to side Conduit, a hook from Rue does hit the mark. Onto Barolo though, not going to have much of a follow-up from only Buss and Poots and Rue.
Yeah. Ishon just gets so greedy. He sees the fat Fizz shut down on the screen. That being said,
Chromalo going to have to flash away without the rocket jump, but might have forced Buss and Poots a bit too far forward. Barolo absolutely going to want that Zenith Blade back. That would have easily been a kill over to Conduit if it landed.
So I did join a little bit late. What am I casting here?
It is the lower finals of the Blue Water Premier League. Winner of the series.
Okay, the league that I was in. Okay, gotcha.
Yes. You were playing for, hold on, no, I know this. Was it Monkeys?
No, it was not.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Okay,
We won our
My
last week,
bad.
and that was it. But didn't get last. Didn't get
Oh,
last.
this season, yeah, it was
Yeah.
it was TPO.
I was Monkeys
yeah.
last season. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was thinking of. So at least I wasn't completely off, right? Like
Eh.
it's-
You were a little off.
that's
It's
fair.
okay,
I mean,
though.
the TPO is especially more recent. I apologize, Loki. I don't know if she's muted herself just yet, or oh, okay. Oh, that's mostly what I was.
Yeah,
in-
stream
why am I
cannot
talking to
hear
you?
Loki.
Why am I now talking to you as if you just haven't notified me that you are in fact muted on stream? You know what? It is what it is. Yes. For anyone who is unaware, Loki is also the owner of the TPO org who played in their first Blue Water Premier League season this time around, and well,
Morello's really far here.
yeah, and walking towards the bot side of the map, Hook does land onto Barolo, but Conduit seem uninterested in helping out the sport. They're just going to sacrifice Barolo over to the the league gods, the gods of the jungle. Shutdown goes
To the
away to
Syndra.
Ishan.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's only 100 gold shutdown. It's not too big of a deal. But when you start seeing a little bit positional mistakes like that, especially with the lead that Conduit seem to have in this game, you maybe start questioning how confident Conduit really is, or how connected they are truly playing. Because it's just really an unnecessary death from Barolo.
Yeah, it was one that I will admittedly, I have definitely been a part of many of times in my solo queue games. It is the support mindset, especially on a tank support where you're looking for wards and then whoops, I died 50 miles away from the rest of my team.
I mean, especially as Leona with the W tankiness as well, and
Yeah.
I assume Aftershock, you sometimes can just feel invincible, but
Yeah,
it is
especially
not
when your
always the
team's
case,
this
sadly.
far ahead. First death of the game to Barolo as well. I suppose when you come to the end of the game, you look at that one, you go, well, maybe you're allowed one, but Barolo might be finding another. Scadwick hits the mark onto Leona. Once again, Chromlone has arrived along with Naja to help out Barolo, but the constant damage slowly going to rain down. Actually, hold up to the bot lane. Another kill goes the way of Yecall. Scadwick hits his way onto flanking Noodles for two, who may have extended too far forward. Hook from Rue not going to land, but the snare from Buss and Poots does. Gets a kill on for Noodles for two. Exhaust traps onto Nation to try to pick up yet another, going to clone away and not escape. An auto attack from far away. Two screens out. Buss and Poots will be the one to claim a shutdown for himself. Up to 3-1 now on the Senna.
Remember how I said Barolo being caught in the jungle there for his first death may spell out that they may be on a little bit of a disconnect? We just saw it happen there again in mid lane. Barolo, just engaged in the 3v1. Chrome alone tried to jump in and get the follow, but by the time he got there, Barolo was already half health, so he was forced out of the fight, and then from there, Final Boss could clean that up pretty easily with the sustain from Senna. So now, this gold lead that Conduit has completely wiped off the board. They're now staring down at a 1k gold deficit.
Yeah, I mean, in a blink of an eye, too. I mean, just a few moments ago, it was very much Conduit favored, and now with the Senna, with Buss and Poots at 3 items, not even fully at the Manamune either. I mean, that's scary moments, especially with how, I mean, the 2 item spike from the Senna with, once you get the Black Cleaver online, it goes, it's insane. It's actually ridiculous really good, how strong, it is just disgusting, and it's only going to get more so as this game goes on.
Okay, Desrin flashes.
Yep.
I feel like we could have waited for the E, but we were scared. It's understandable, but I feel like we could have waited a little bit.
Yeah, the flash is very big. Cooldown will no longer be available for Derizen, especially important on the Fizz to either get in and then you know use your E to hop away, or then also get out without dying. So Derizen going to be in a little bit of trouble. And speaking of Derizen, one qualm I had with this Fizz as a pick, which it did open the option for Final Boss to go relatively tanky with their draft. I mean, it's going to be so hard for Drizzen to find a good Chum the Waters onto Ishan and Bus and Poots. It's only going to get harder as the game goes on, especially onto Bus and Poots with how much range the Cinna gets.
Yika taking a chunk.
Yeah.
They're gonna try to peel for him now.
Two. I think I don't quite like where the camera is because now we go where I really wanted it to in the midst of everyone. Noodles with 2 with the Fear Beyond Death gets the kill onto Yika. Drizzen goes in, tries to find Nation, but Ishan, but not going to be far enough. Noodles for 2 snared up, chunked out. And the jump in from Chromalone going to be spotted out by Bus and Poots, who's still completely untouched. Double kill for Sutek. 4-4-2 in favor of Final Boss. They get the early kills, but they don't get Bus and Poots, and really that is what matters for Conduit.
In these long, extended fights, we're just seeing how much healing Final Boss has on their team between this Senna and this Maokai. They just healed up their whole entire health bars throughout that team fight, and they both ended in full health. So, I mean, Conduit, you said, wants to look for the burst with the Fizz, but if they don't find it, these extended team fights just aren't going their way. It really is all on Desrin right now to make that initial pick either on the Syndra or on the Senna, but I mean, since I've hopped on Desk, he just hasn't been able to find it. That's going to be Baron or Final Boss as well.
Unless, yeah, no. I mean,
No.
I see. You say no, but the thing is, one of the first things that I remember, like getting into like League esports, was the Licorice walk up to Baron against the Freak of Freaks in 2018 on Ornn and autos it away at 1 HP. So
if we had Piosic on Final Boss, maybe it would be stolen.
oh my
Fortunately
God.
for Final Boss, it's not Piosic in jungle.
Oh, wow. Hey, that is a world champion. You are.
That is world champion Piosic, it is true.
Yeah.
He has one more world champion than I do.
Yeah, that's one more world champion than Sutek does as well. Shockingly enough. So to the surprise of many. I don't know where I'm going with that one. All the while, at the very least, Noodles for 2 up in the top lane. Going to be left alone to split push, but eventually that's going to be answered by Yikal, and that does kind of open up the mid lane a bit. Death sentence from Rue lands its way onto Barolo. They're not exactly a target that's going to be able to truly go up forward. Hook only going to hit the clone. Drizzen on the flank. Chum the Waters not going to hit anybody. And so any attempt that Conduit really has at trying to find a fight here going to die with the Fizz ult missing.
And Conduit is struggling here because they just don't have good wave clear on their team right now. These minions that are just baroned up, especially this cannon minion, is just doing so much chip damage to this tower over time. The only way they can really break that wave is if they full send in, but since they didn't have Urgot there, they weren't willing to risk it.
Yeah, and I don't think that wave clear is going to get all that much better either. Chrome alone kind of can do something with an explosive charge. Hold on, flash forward from Nation, going to find a way in onto Ishan, but the immediate flash response from Ishan gets him away. Bus and Poots completely untouched. Drizzen going to find the mark. Exhaust drops down. Drizzen goes golden. Noodles for 2 flashes forward, trying to find Bus and Poots, but they still can't kill the Cinna. And everything was thrown at the kitchen wall to find it. Actually, from the flank, finally, the Cinna does go down, but at what cost? Drizzen going to be going to the gray screen. Noodles for 2, the last remaining member of Conduits, to try to keep things alive for them. They are unable to. They get Bus and Poots in the end. Nation waiting in the wing, spotted out by Yikal, trying to find a miracle steal away.
Later.
Not going to do it. Scatter the Weak secures it for Final Boss. Ace for only Bus and Poots. I mean, yeah.
You got the
They got what
Senna.
they came for. Yeah, they
You
did.
did it! Unfortunately, it took your whole entire team and a lot of your summoner spells. We saw Desiree get the initial chunk with the Q dash in with the W auto attack, but then an exhaust came down and he had to go Zonia's so he wouldn't get bursted. And then Bus and Poots just able to kite away from that. And while that was happening, Yika on the top side of the fight was just shredding everyone. We're at the 3-item Garen. We have the Spear of Shojin. Yika does plenty of damage, and now you're looking at just a 3-pronged attack from the side of Final Boss. You have 3 carries that you need to take down, and honestly, not that good enough of damage to really do it effectively.
Yeah, it's a bit dire for the side of Conduit, a bit odd to be saying, considering just 8 minutes ago it was looking nigh on impossible for Final Boss to be able to do much in this one, but just a few, I guess, I'm trying to find the right word to say, like, careless?
It was me. It was me. I joined in.
It was you? Ah,
it was
wait,
me. I joined
true.
in,
This
and Conduit starts flopping. It's all me. I am Conduit fans' biggest nightmare currently, being on the desk.
To be fair, you did call it basically immediately when that first death of Barolo, and it just has been the continuing story of just really odd plays from Conduit when they had that lead until, well, now they find themselves 4K gold down, at the very least on soul points. If they find an odd fight randomly out of the blue, especially in like the next 2 minutes, they could be able to garner themselves a soul point. Chum the Waters from Derizen going to miss completely. Dawning Shadow will come over the top to try to save Yeecall, not going to be able to do so. 1K shutdown goes over to Noodles for 2, but the rest of Final Boss has arrived to be able to trade it back 1-for-1 onto Noodles.
Alright, so 1-for-1 overall. They find a really good flank on Yeecall. They give the shutdown over to Noodles for 2. I would have liked to see it go into the Tristana, but at least they get a kill as a flash forward. I do not know why we're using flash aggressively on Senna ever in this game. You sort of need it for the Leona ult or the Fizz jumping on you or Wukong ult. Burning it like that to try and get a kill doesn't do anything, because even if you get that kill there, if you are able to take down the Fizz, what does that give you on the map? Like, you still got tier 2 even without the kill.
Yeah, and I mean, you could say Baron maybe with it spawning in 5 seconds, but still, I mean, it was a very ambitious look from Buss and Poots, to put it kindly.
But now for this next team fight, we need to see where Buss and Poots like puts himself now. Because if he steps up an inch too far, he can just so easily get full sent on. He still has exhaust, but I mean, flash still makes you a lot safer.
Yeah, and there is a flash available to Derizen and to Chromolone and to Barolo. All very.
Nations is coming up in like 10 seconds too.
Yeah, all very good champs for Conduit to have to be able to collapse onto Buss and Poots. As you mentioned, the exhaust at the very least available to Buss and Poots. But assuming that Conduit can organize a collapse onto the Senna exhaust, I mean, can only target one champion. So, I mean, you exhaust the Fizz. Congratulations, Tristana is going to be doing a ton of damage onto you now as well. If you somehow miraculously exhaust the Tristana, well, congratulations. There's a Fizz jumping in on you. And Nation, speaking of his flash, going to come off cooldown now. At this point, Conduit are aware that the Baron is getting started up.
Noodles is just
Noodles for 2 in the bot lane.
Now he's TPing.
Finally going to start it up now, but yeah, as you mentioned, way too late for anything to really come of it. Barolo is going to find a way, going to be hit by the death sentence. Barolo in trouble, not quite burst down just yet. Exhaust drops on 2 Noodles for 2 to prevent the damage, but immediately gets traded back onto Yeecall. Chromolone finding the kill, but Chromolone goes too far forward. Buss and Poots going to hit him with a piercing darkness. Nation getting kited away by Noodles for 2. Double kill for Buss and Poots. Too little too late from Conduit.
Yeah, the TP is just so late for Noodles for 2, and then Barolo feels like he has to send it because his Urgot is TPing into the pit. He's going to be all alone, so he flashed Zenith Blades forward, but again, there's no one to follow up with him. He's sitting in 4 people without his team, and he just dies so easily. The problem that I pointed out when I first came in, they had that lead, but they had just that slight disconnect. And even though you have that gold lead, that's maybe where you start to waver in your confidence, and we've seen it completely snowball this game.
Listen, Poots, though, staying up in the top lane, perhaps a little bit too long. Solar Flare going to drop, only going to get the slow. Buss and Poots continuing to kite out a bit more. Gets the kill onto Noodles for 2 before he can get the second cast of the Fear Beyond Death. Chromolode eventually arrives and gets the shutdown, a really big shutdown at that. But to be able to trade that back is not feel great for Conduit, and all the while, Final Boss pick up for themselves their third Infernal Drake and put both teams on soul point.
Yeah, your split push ADC was able to win the 2v1. You feel pretty good about that. You do give over the shutdown, but like that just shows how strong this is. Econ, I think he's kind of a little bit too far here.
Oh, yeah. Chum the Waters hits the mark, and Chromalone going to secure it with an auto attack. Yikal, I mean, yeah, it's not great.
We saw him blue buff though. It was all worth it.
Solar Flare going to hit the mark down onto Sutek. The Lantern is there to get him out though. Going to continue to follow up. Wait, hold on. Nation goes way too far forward. Rue flashing forward to try to find another. Just lands short of Derizen. Nature's Grasp going to be body blocked by Barolo. Going to sacrifice himself for the greater good to get his mid laner on out of there. And 2 kills go back the way of Final Boss despite the earlier pick onto Yikal.
Alright, we're getting a little bit antsy in this game. We're sort of just running on side lanes without any vision. I think Final Boss really wants to end this game as fast as they can, and they're sort of just skipping steps to set that up properly. We saw it with Senna in top lane, and then again with Garen in that bot jungle, just didn't have proper vision set up. I mean, if you look at bot jungle now, there's no vision there. He was sort of just on a solo journey, and he gets punished for it, but overall, the long play, it rewards Final Boss. They're going to break this tier 3 mid. Now they're going to start stepping up for the inhib, but now Ika is not here if a fight gets started right now.
Yeah, so I don't really know if they really care all too much about that on the side of Final Boss. Yeah. And with that, I mean, it is mid inhib, to be fair. It's not exactly the strongest inhibitor to be claiming, especially when you have Drake and Baron spawning at basically the same exact time the next 2.5 minutes. So it's not the worst possible outcome from Conduit, all things considered, but definitely one that they will potentially have to respond to with these objectives coming up.
Yeah, the bad news is you could theoretically sort of just funnel gold into whoever catches the mid lane now with that inhib down, but now you can sort of just ignore mid and play on side waves. We see them already starting that play.
The Water's not going to hit the mark onto Derizen. Yikal going to go far forward just to try to find a kill. Does get it onto Nation, but Rue sticks around to try to get his top laner, sorry, her top laner on out of there. But the rest of Conduit were wise to the ideas of Rue. They make it 2 for 1 on the response, and with nothing on the map, it's a nice injection of gold for Conduit.
It's the same thing again. They're going for an aggressive play in bot when 3 of our teammates are topside. And again, look at bot river, look at bot jungles. There's zero vision set up anywhere. They're sort of just hoping that the enemy team isn't there and they find a pick for free, and it's not being given to them right now. So they need to change how they are playing this game to close it out. They need to be playing with each other with this lead. You don't have to play in mid anymore. You will automatically push because you have inhib. Just play on a side and start pushing down and trying to punish that way. We can't be this disconnected.
Which this has also given leeway for Conduit to push into the bot half jungle of Final Boss, get some vision down, get them set up for this next Drake spawning in 50 seconds. At the very least, Sutek and Yikal and Rue will be back up and available for this fight. The respawn timers aren't that long just yet. It will give Conduit a slight advantage, at least for now. Of course, going to seed it. Sutek and Rue going to be placing up vision and making it even actually quite dark for the side of Conduit too. Walk in.
Late backs. Like,
yeah, I mean,
we saw Leona and Wukong's reset, and then 2 reset after. It's late resets, and they aren't with each other either. It's disconnected late resets. So all of the prio that they could have had on Drake is completely taken over. Now we're fishing in some bushes. We're just going to play the mid wave. Look at Garen on top side. He's just getting free split push this whole time.
And all... Oh, wait, hold on. Chum the Waters hits the mark onto Rue. Scatter the Weak going to hit its way on Thursday. Has to go golden, but the real health bar flash away from Buss and Poots on the Cyclone. Re-engaged from Conduit goes forward. Ishan in trouble. Rue also with the blinking health bar does eventually go down. Chromalone the one to find that kill. Rocket jumping forward. Can't quite find the kill onto Sutek. Another dash forward from Ishan gets a shutdown onto, from Nation gets the kill onto Ishan. It is immediately traded back by Buss and Poots. As you mentioned, Yeecall's in available on the Nexus, flashing away from Noodles for 2. Chromalone gets the recall. Does he have enough damage? He does with the final Q! Yeecall on the split push takes game 1 to the side of Final Boss. Just barely, though.
I thought I was having flashbacks to the Baron where Noodles for 2 saved his TP so late, but instead we just see the full commit on the split push to Yeecaw. And that Senna, with all that healing in that last team fight, really provided them all that extra time for Yeecaw to find those damage on that towers and to finish out the game. It was a great comeback from Final Boss in that late game.
Yeah, a large part of it in the hands of Buss and Poots. 50k damage on the Senna, as you mentioned, with the healing as well, was absolutely just lights out once he got online with the 2 item power spike. But Yeecaw, as we saw with the split push at the end, ultimately the one to win it for Final Boss. And it's a really disappointing result from Conduit considering how good they looked in the early game.
I didn't see how good they looked.
Oh wait, that's fair actually.
So to me, it was just Conduit sort of crumpling. To me, Final Boss looked great.
I mean that's just the trick. Show up halfway through the game and then nothing else quite matters, right? Like
yeah. I don't
that's
know.
also
the Final Boss
that's
did pretty good.
To be fair, it was also kind of the mindset of Final Boss in that game, which they take for themselves. We are going to send it to a break though. When we come back, Conduit are going to have another chance to try to level up this series at 1 apiece, or Final Boss going to look to send themselves to match points. We'll find out with the draft in just a few short moments. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back for the draft of Game 2 between Conduit and Final Boss here in the Blue Auto Premier League lower finals. Final Boss taking that first game eventually, relatively convincingly. Meanwhile, Conduit's going to want to, kind of take a look back at how things went. Maybe go with something a little bit different than the Fizz, which obviously they won't have access to anymore. But outside of lane, it was kind of a bit of a nothing burger.
Yeah, I mean, Fizz is the champ where you want to be dominant in early and mid game, but we saw the game go past 40 minutes, and Assassins just sort of fall off with time. So once we reach those later stages of the game, it becomes harder and harder to pilot the Fizz, and they just couldn't get it done. But looking at it bans right now, Ari, Mel, and Braum taking out by Final Boss, Caitlyn, Seraphine, and we see a Kane ban from the sign of Conduit. Kane is not very popular in coordinated play, but I guess Final Boss is a really good Kane player to pay that respect over to.
I'm not going to let Nation having it, but the B1 Hui from Final Boss will be the lock-in, going to be into the hands of Ishan.
Yeah, Hui, blind. I mean, most people are just going to say, it's going to be a mage versus mage mid. I'm just going to take the mage that I want. This time it's going to be the Hui. Right now we're seeing a Xerath hover.
Xerath?
It's a very early Xerath. I'm a fan of Xerath. I don't like it this early because Final Boss still has champs such as Jarvan open, still has Nautilus open. There's still a lot of ways for Xerath to be a very, very sad little gamer. But we're going to see it paired up with Smolder here on R2.
Yeah, but Xerath does have the range advantage into Hui. That's definitely going to be feeling, at least in the 1v1, relatively good for Drizzen. As, well, we did see, or at least myself and Loki did, Pelly, thank you for stepping in, but at least we saw the early advantage from Drizzen. I mean, he was able to step up and do relatively all right in that 1v1 with the advantage last time around, so hopefully looking to do the same thing again this time around with a champion that doesn't necessarily fall off as hard as the Fizz does. But the next two picks from Final Boss are going to lock in the Ashe and the Nautilus in response to the Smolder.
It's very easy to just play for a pick comp. Whoever Nautilus hooks or whoever Ashe arrows, you just full send onto them. You kill them immediately. And like I was saying when that Xerath was locked in, very hard for Xerath to play around a Nautilus because Nautilus's Q is pretty big. And it can find Xerath in the backline, but this is an early Taric. It's going to be Smolder Taric bot lane. Taric is a counter to like hard engage comps normally. That's why we see it picked into Nautilus. But again, I can't help but feel like it was picked a little bit early because Final Boss can still pivot to a poke comp with the Hui, with the Ashe if they, maybe if they play something like Jason Top.
Yeah, Cosmic Radiance, such a game-changing ultimate that the entire focus of a game has to be played around. And as you mentioned, a little bit early of a pick for the Taric, though into the Nautilus, into the Ashe. For the 2v2, it is it's going to be feeling good for Conduit, I believe.
Yeah, Conduit right now is just setting up for pure late game team fight. They just want to full scale right now. That is their whole plan. So they need to find something in jungle that can sort of keep them safe in early game to let them get to that late game point. Xin Zhao is still open. He's probably
say that.
We're hovering it. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was going to say he's one of the strongest junglers on the patch. Very easy for him to keep his team safe with Crescent Guard's knockback. It's going to be banned out instead. But Jarvan is still up to provide a little bit of safety as well. Mordekaiser is also going to be locked in here. I mean, he can death realm someone out, but I mean, could we see this flexed into jungle maybe?
I mean, you have to keep it a possibility. I would hope it's being kept as a possibility from the side of Conduit, because blinding Mordekaiser is not exactly the best look ever. So, I mean, it has been able to be flex jungle a few times. It's not the greatest pick ever, but also not the biggest detriment. However, Nefiri from Final Boss is a champion that has been rising in popularity around the world, and for good reason. This champion is an assassin who is extremely safe and
There's the
can.
Aura counter.
Oh, yep. Into the Mordekaiser are going to be feeling good, assuming that it goes into the top lane. But Nefiri, back to that point, is a late game assassin, or not a late game assassin, but assassin that really doesn't care about having a front line at all. The Hound's Pursuit it's so easy to navigate this champion onto whoever you really want.
What's the R5 going to be here? We're looking at
Silas.
So if Silas is picked here, I'm
Okay.
going to assume it's Silas jungle and talk you through Silas jungle. If this is Silas jungle, it's a pretty miserable matchup into Nefiri because his E2 can be blocked by the dogs and then he doesn't get his stun on his E. And the problem with Silas is his whole value has to come off of ganks. His clear is very, very bad. It's not fast. It's not particularly healthy either. So to keep himself in this game, Silas needs to find gank after gank after gank to keep himself really relevant. And when you have a team that really wants to hard scale into the late game and sort of not commit to any big plays early, I don't know if Silas is the correct pick to go with it.
Yeah, and it also heavily indexes Conduit into a magic damage profile, which I suppose can feel okay for the Smolder late game when no one has any sort of armor and he's fully stacked up and doing late game Smolder things. But I mean, outside of that, all Final Boss has to do is buy a little bit of MR, and all of a sudden Conduits, they don't really feel nearly as potent.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at Final Boss, it's a very, very simple, just pick comp. We see someone, we Ash Arrow them, we Nautilus hook them, we immediately burst them. They have Nefiri to follow up as well. York can put someone in the baby cage to not let them escape either way, playing from 10 screens away over the top. And on the side of Conduit, I don't know how they want to play these team fights in the later game. You sort of want to poke with Xerath and Smolder, but you don't have reliable engage. It's really all up to Mordekaiser finding a pull or Silas finding a chain.
I think the best possible outlook for Conduit would be how much Final Boss wants to go in, and the fact that they can absorb quite a bit of that pressure. Smolder has the ability to flap away. I mean, other than Xerath, but Smolder has the ability to, just flap away Tarek with, of course, with the Cosmic Radiance. If it comes down before Final Boss can finish off any of these kills, it could be absolutely game-changing for them. And because of how much Final Boss wants to come in, Mordekaiser might just have a free time and a pick of the litter of whoever they want to send to the Death Realm. So I guess that is the saving grace for Conduit, is that they can absorb a lot of that engage from Final Boss very well, but they do have to survive that initial punch.
Yeah, I mean, they can absorb it and play the team fight out long, but I always favor the side that has the engage in these leagues, especially because this is D4 cap. It always feels so much better to be the ones who have the trigger pull, to start the fight on your own terms, instead of sort of having to accept, we have to let the enemy team make a mistake before we can truly get our damage down. So, in my book here, I think Final Boss is going to take this game too.
We'll have to see if Final Boss can indeed live up to Pelly's prediction, or if Conduit can absorb this pressure and send it back the way of Final Boss and bring this series level. We will find out after the short break when we're loaded onto the Rift, so don't go anywhere.
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, oh, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A soul reign of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last strike. Hearing voices from afar. Join the madness when the curtain falls. Risk it all, hold nothing back. Seize the day, we must attack. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding. Only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A soul reign of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last Can we bring to fall the giants? 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 We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of a world that we defy. A soul reign of the few who rise up high. And we all fight at the last strike.
And welcome back. We're loaded onto the Rift for Game 2 between Final Boss and Conduit in the Blue Otter Premier League lower finals. Winner of this series will be facing the Little Monkeys in the grand finals on not tomorrow, because that was Father's Day, and the teams have agreed that they will not be playing tomorrow, but the actual day will depend on the winner of this series. And so far, Conduit, at least in that game one, they were started off strong, but we'll see if they can actually take that strong start to a victory this time around.
Oop, there's the hook in already. And there's the quick trade.
Yeah.
Brillo not able to get his E down in time. So, I mean, just a free trade for Rue there.
Yep, and Basil is one that's typically relatively easy to land on engages, but still going to be feeling quite alright inside of Final Boss from the fact that it went a bit wide, and Buss and Poots actually using the vision from the bush to push out Barolo even further.
Yeah, now they play for level 2. Here comes the hook.
Yeah, hook lands its way in onto Chromolone. Level 2 finds its way onto Rue and Buss and Poots. Will they get the kill in time? Not quite, but it gets the heal and barrier out of Chromolone and Barolo.
Yeah, heal and barrier are already down in this bot lane 2 minutes in. It's going to force the Smolder reset here, which means he loses this huge wave, or at least a good chunk of it if they push it in fast enough. They're going to see the reset and start shoving it now, so... I mean, Smolder is going to lose a lot of XP because of this, and Smolder already finds himself in a pretty big hole. And now we have an invade.
With that push in, Sutek will have the help of his bot lane to arrive eventually. Nation going to be forced out with the flash. Sutek stealing away the wolves comfortably from Nation, who now has no flash as well.
Remember, this Silas wants to find ganks early. He needs to find the advantage.
Flash forward from Sutek onto Nation. Will dodge out the W of Derizen. First blood goes the way of Ishan, securing the kill to the mid laner of Final Boss. Barolo's roamed up now to try to help out, but will Flashway severing bolt's going to be dodged out by Barolo. Slow lands its way onto Ishan, but not nearly enough return damage to threaten any sort of kills.
Again, I was talking about in the pregame how unhealthy that Silas clear was. We saw him on Wolves at half health. And so, I don't know how to say his name. I'm just going to say Nefiri. Nefiri just finds the very free invade angles. Chromolone, he's just dead in
trouble under tower. 2 shots in return, not going to be much trouble to Rue. Only going to get the flash out of support of Final Boss, but they get the kill onto Chromolone, who held onto his flash, just accepting his fate.
Yeah, Chromolone doesn't use his flash, and now he missed that first wave because he had to back. He's already down on levels. Now he's solo killed, so he's down even more gold. Right now, early for Conduit, it just seems to all be going wrong. And now we see the Nefiri on top side already got the invade, already shutting down Silas's early game. And now he's looking at the top camps on the respawn.
Yeah, and so the response from Nation is to try to make this a vertical jungle, which, to be fair, is a decent option. Really the only option that they have to be able to return anything back their way. Ecall and Noodles for 2, both getting dangerously low in this 1v1. Both have teleports, so I would expect that eventually they're just going to recall and get back to lane.
Yeah, but Yika has that extra healing from his Q as well when he, hits anything. So he has a tiny little bit of sustain. He's out of mana now, so he's not going to be able to heal up anymore. But the jungler's now here off of the invade. Noodles for 2 probably has to flash here. Yeah, he flashed.
Yep, on the gank from Sutek. Will mean that Noodles for 2 will be in a bit of a troubled spot with the target on their back, at least in the near future. Luckily, Noodles for 2 on the Mordekaiser does have access to the Death Realm and being able to make any gank into a 1v1 temporarily. Buss and Poots far forward, going to dodge out the Dazzle, and the hook in return from Rue going to land its way onto Barolo, and now Chromolone going to throw up the barrier just to survive. But my goodness, we weren't able to see any of these incredible hooks from Rue in game 1 on her favored Thresh, but comes out strong in game 2 on the Nautilus.
Yeah, an amazing hook through the minion wave to punish Barolo trying to walk up and get a little bit of an extra chunk. And this bot lane, it's sort of just over. You had the counter pick Tarek, but it hasn't worked out. Buss and Poots just taking over. We're flashing into cancel.
Onto Derizen.
Sidestep.
Make sure the ult doesn't come through, and in fact, Ishan does sidestep up. Very fancy footwork from them, but will not have a flash. And no teleport either means Ishan is in a less than ideal spot.
And just to touch on this point again with Silas, the Fury hasn't gotten her first back yet. Still no items, which means the jungle clear is just slower for Nefiri. Still up on camps. Still up on impact on the map. Like, Silas needs to be hard ganking. It's the only way you find value on the Silas pick in jungle. And right now, Nefiri's sort of just running the map.
Yeah, Sutek going to be coming back with a really nice recall for himself. Especially important
Maiden is still there, by the way. It goes into ult.
In fact, it does. Obliterate does hit the mark onto Yicall, though. Taking down with the passive onto Yicall. Flash away from Yicall. Not going to be far enough from News for 2 with a bonk down over the top. Finds the solo billow over to Conduit and gets them a sign of life in this game that's been very much final boss favored.
Yep, solo kill for Noodles for 2 in a counter matchup. Normally Yorick is pretty good into Mordekaiser because the Maiden now actually does follow you into the death round. It used to not, but now it does. But just not able to win the 1v1 there. Puss and Poots, again, another really good dodge on the Taric E to not get hit by the root. And again, they're just going to shove this under tower, get their minions, and then going to pivot up to the Drake that their jungler has already started.
Yeah, and with Nation not in the area for a straight, comfortably going to go the way of final boss, making them feel quite comfortable in their advantage. Now sits at 1.5k gold at 7.5 minutes.
Oh,
Is a significant one. Ooh.
They're not going to send it on
volley.
him, but I didn't love that positioning, but he's never punished, so it's fine.
Yeah, and also Ishan and Sutek were nearby. They'd pretty much have to have bursted down Puss and Poots immediately for it to have mattered much. And plus, Puss and Poots has flash, has barrier, so likely would have been okay anyway. Might not be here as looks like Nation is looking for a lane gank, but Sutek also heading towards the bottom half of the map. We could eventually see a 3v3, and Chance Sahara hits its way onto Barolo. Sutek arriving now to be able to try to turn this fight around on the counter gank, going forward and deep onto Chromalone. The ult from mid lane from Derizen will prevent any sort of follow-up from Puss and Poots and Rue, but Ishan now arriving on the roam. Hook going to be flashed away by Nation, pushing as far forward as possible. Not enough to be able to secure the kill onto Puss and Poots.
Nation just gets a little bit too greedy. He finds the kill on the play, but just goes a little bit too far, pays his life for it, and
might
now
find a second and does with the kill onto Barolo. And himself and yet another kill. Yeah, definitely going to feel good for him considering Derizen stayed up in mid, and so it equalizes out that the gold there.
Yeah, I mean, what should have been a good play for Conduit just got played a little bit too long. You sort of just need to be happy with the one that you got on Nefiri and take that as a win. Instead, Nation tried to flash in to get that little bit of extra value. Barolo walked up to try to help, and they both go down. So, I mean, overall, it's a positive play to final boss. You're perfectly fine dropping just one plate in the mid lane as way to roam down and get your kill. So you're now 2-0-1 on this way. Just bought a Dark Seal to start stacking as well. Knowing he has a pretty good lead in mid, wants to get that stacking.
Yeah, and we'll have to do so at some point, ideally. Being said, shift attention to elsewhere. Grub started up by Sutek, which will go the way of Nefiri. Very comfortable as Nation's looking for a lane gank. Abscond comes through. Abduct. Not going to be used, just going to hijack away the Nautilus ult.
And on the other side, we saw Nefiri already starting the Void Grubs. So it's gonna be the trade on the opposite side of the map for the objective. And I mean, this is how Nation sort of has to play it as Silas. You need to sort of stay and look for these ganks, but right now this is a pretty big overstay. You're just wasting a lot of time right now. They are really trying to force this. Maybe they don't realize that he's still here, because it's a pretty insane timer to still be here on this bot wave.
Yeah, and the Hawk shot spotted Derizen roaming down as well, so the bot lane of final boss stays safe. Actually pushed forward now. Dazzle not going to hit the mark onto Rue. Abduct does hit. Depth charge going to get its way down onto Puss and Poots. Mom is called. Cosmic Radiance dropped, and the ult from Xerath from downtown helps secure the kill over to Chromalon, but now the counter gank into the top lane. News for 2 to send Yikal to the death realm, who is out now. Hound's Pursuit dropped onto the Mordekaiser. Will get the kill onto Yikal, burning down Sutek, who goes untargetable for a bit. Obliterate hits the mark onto Sutek. Doesn't quite find the kill. Noodles for 2 going to push even further. Not quite going to get the second Obliterate cast down onto the head of Sutek. Now Nation trying to find his way onto Buss and Poots. Will back off.
I mean, this is how you have to play it as an Asian. You know your bot side is a little bit weak, so you're just hard stacking and trying to get them back into the game. Sutek sort of just needs to play around bot right now and just play these 3v3 skirmishes because they should be able to win them. All three of them are ahead of their counterpart, but we're just not playing around the right lane. Instead, Sutek is pathing up towards top, towards Yikov for your split push. But we can really hard punish the Smolder over and over again on these waves and make sure Smolder cannot get into this game ever. But instead, I think we're just trying to spread out a little bit too much. Trying to make sure everyone is okay when Buss and Poots could realistically run away with this game if we just keep sitting bot.
Yeah, and as a result, Cromalone's been able to slightly get back into the game with a kill and even close the CS deficit that they were sitting at to now only 7. Meanwhile, with all the attention that was shown up to Yikal, Noodles for 2, thrived under pressure. Now sitting on 2 kills as well on the Mordekaiser. It's going to be very difficult to deal with Noodles on the side of Final Boss.
And now they're looking to 3-dive top. This is what Conduit is doing that I said Final Boss should have done on bot side. They identified their strong part of the map. For Conduit, it's top side, and now they're just 3-stacked in top, looking to extend their lead even more.
Pullback hits its way onto Yikal. Nation Barolo will arrive the abscond, nor the Dazzle will hit the mark, but I don't think it'll matter all too much. One more Obliterates really is all that's needed. Not even for Noodles for 2, just going to take him down with the passive. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow from far away will not quite get the tower aggro on to Barolo. So top lane tier 1 not long for this world, so they will look onto Chromalone as you had suggested. We'll pop the barrier, and with the Zerath ults, we'll get a decent damage down on to Ruin. Actually finds the kill, the 1-for-1, but Derizen on the roam over will be spotted out by Sutek, who has to flash over the wall, but the follow up from the Nefiri gets the kill. Trade it back to the side of Final Boss.
And that's exactly what you have to do, basically, for both teams. They identify the weak part of the map, they send pressure on that side, and continue to put the person who is behind even more behind. Both teams doing it. Right now, Conduit is rewarded more with that top tier 1 and extra plates in top as well. So overall, I do think they went out on the play just a little bit, but that's how you should be playing the game. So both teams identifying what they need to do, and now Noodles dodges away from that hook. He's going to be able to walk out.
Asian is
in the
vicinity, though. Yeah, teleport coming over to Derizen. We'll just get targeted out, hit by the Severing Bolt, not going to amount to much, but Nation potentially hold up to the bot lane. Dazzle hits the mark onto Buss and Poots, who drops an early barrier to try to stay alive, but it's not going to matter. Shutdown gets into the hands of Chroma, and now Noodles for 2 going to send Yikal to the Death Realm, puts up the baby cage to stop the advance from Noodles for 2, who will get himself the really big shield once again. Yikal not going to be able to survive in the 1v1. A 4th kill of the game gets into the hands of Noodles for 2.
Yeah, Buss and Poots just greets on side wave for a wave, and it gets punished by Barolo with the flash into the stun. And in this top side, Yorick is still almost winning this. I think Yikal wins these fights if he even attempts to sidestep the Mordekaiser Q. He's just not. He's sort of just sitting and auto-attacking, let Mordekaiser get these free Qs onto him, which is really losing him all these fights in these 1v1s.
Yeah, going to press forward, tries to find the way onto Derizen with the Hound's Pursuit, gets the mark onto him, gets the slow with the Severing Bolts, secures it into the hands of Sutek.
Alright, so it's another kill for the Nefiri, and the objective is up in the Herald if they choose to go for it with their mid laner picked. Instead, they're just taking it a little bit more slow, want to play around their bot side, make sure Buss and Poots is still in a good spot after being caught out on the side wave.
And so Rue shows up in the bot lane once again. But that shutdown was a really big one for Chrome Alone. Gets him right back into this game despite the gold deficit that was being faced. And I mean, Chrome Alone, if we can maybe get a stack check on the Smolder, doesn't quite look like he's at the 225 mark. He's actually a really good distance off. Hasn't, to be fair, considering how the early game has gone, that might not be too much of a surprise, but will take a little bit for him to really fully come online. Sutek and Nation arriving for this gank. Depth charge going to find its way onto everybody. Hold up. Gift wrapped for the side of Final Boss. The way Conduit all lined up for that max value Nautilus ult comes through. Nation going to dodge out the dredge line from Rue. Abduct goes forward and flash forward onto Bus and Poots to be able to get the kill. Abscond, Abduct not going to hit Sutek now with the Hound's Pursuit. It's going to go back in and pick up yet another kill for the Nefiri. That's Sutek's 4th of the game.
By the way, while that was happening on top side, we saw Noodles for 2 take Eka into the realm at like 1/4 health. Still won that 1v1. He's able to escape now at 5-0. Really not quite sure how that happened in that 1v1. And now he's going to drop the Rift Herald on top lane as well. It's going to be top tier 2 taken off the back of it, riding it into the tower himself. And this Mordekaiser is an absolute monster right now in this game. Ash and Nefiri are ahead, but taken into that death realm, it doesn't matter how much gold you have. Mordekaiser's probably winning it.
Good on Noodles for 2. Not going to have to revoke his driver's license. That being said, he's going to get slowed up by Sutek and Ishan. Sutek going to get his 5th of the game. So despite Noodles for 2 doing his best Max Verstappen impression, going to lose his life for it.
Yeah, he's able to drive, but I think the road was closed, and he sort of ignored the sign, went down the road anyways, and pays his life for it. But I mean, he still has a ton of gold in this Mordekaiser. Didn't even give over a shutdown on that death, by the way.
That's crazy.
It's because his team's behind. That is why.
That's fair, but also, dang.
it feels bad as Final Boss. You're like, man, I just killed the strongest player on the map. Surely I get a little bit of a gold now.
Oh, Bus and Poots in a bit of trouble. Going to get collapsed on Nation, the one to find the kill as, hold up, Sutek finding his way onto a Derizen with the Xerath ult from 50 miles away. Sutek gets a kill on to Derizen, but that leaves Ishan vulnerable. Shutdown goes into the hands of Chrome Alone. Flash forward to find Chrome Alone from Sutek. The bleed eventually does get it, but in the midst of everybody, what can Sutek do to get out? Sent to the death realm by Noodles for 2, will run into the edge of said realm, pulled back, shutdown gets into the hand of Noodles for 2 as if he needed any more gold in this game.
Flash is a little bit crazy to commit, but I guess you do trade yourself for Smolder. I'm still not a huge fan of it, but at least you trade 1-for-1 overall. Overall, on this map, Eka is able to crack down a top tier 1, but the gold definitely goes the way of Conduit, especially after picking up their first Drake of the game.
Yeah, and will put themselves on a potential soul point in 5 minutes. The Ocean Soul is up for grabs this time around.
It's not Ocean. The overlay lies. It's broken. It is. It's the Drake the Conduit took that I can't remember the name of because I'm under pressure.
Oh wait,
it's
Hex Tech. Wait, it's the Hex Tech map. You know,
you.
I've said so many times this last few years, ever since that this Drake has been added, and yet I've still fallen for the bait.
Riot's overlay.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll ever update it?
I don't. At this point, I don't think so. Because how many years has it been since the Hex Tech and Kin Drakes have been added?
I'm waiting for Otacon to show up on a timer somehow. I don't know how, but Otacon's gonna show up on a timer.
Somehow Otacon's returned?
Yeah. Not even on the map, just a timer. That's it.
Yeah. That's that would probably be one of the least surprising things. I've actually now that I say that, I'm trying to think of something that's been more surprising that I've seen the Spectator do. We'll get back to you on that front.
It wasn't Spectator, but just recently they accidentally coded Nefiri's W as Ultimate.
Oh yeah, that happened. Fury was
all of-
disabled for that period of time too.
Yeah, because he just got ult haste on his W and resets on it as well, as Ishan is dead.
Yep, Duck hits the mark. Ishan going to flash away, but going to be eventually killed down by his own spiraling despair. The tower shots not going to get off in time onto Nation, so he survives, not even able to trade it back 1 for 1. But it does mean that final boss turned their attention to the mid lane.
If they're going to trade that kill in mid for a couple of plates, or sorry, that kill in bot for a couple of plates in mid, Noodles for 2 is just so strong that final boss sort of has to respect that he's there and can't fully commit to the tower. So that means on the bot side of the map, after that pick, that bot tier 2 is going to go down. It's another injection of gold into the back pocket of Conduit, and now they're going to find themselves with a gold lead. It's not a big one. It's 100 gold, but it's their first gold lead of the game. It's their first gold lead of the game.
Okay, that's fair. That is a true statement.
This is where it starts.
Yeah, and it definitely has been a good last few minutes from this side of Conduit.
Oh, the wife's
how
alone.
this game has started from them. Yeah.
Oh, it's so sad.
Doing decently there in the side lane. To be fair, on her own.
Yorick left his wife.
Damn. Maidenless, and I haven't actually played
Maidenless and maidenless.
Yeah, I haven't
Because
actually
it's called
played a shoot. Well, either way, Barolo not going to hit the Dazzle. Sutek and Rue spot out a lone Tarek, and the Tentacles arrow almost lands its way onto Chrome Alone. Would have been very dangerous for the Smolder. Sidesteps that just in time.
Yeah, and I talked about. Okay, this is far.
Hound's Pursuit goes forward from Sutek. Gets out as quickly as possible, goes untargetable, so will survive. It's very ambitious from Sutek.
Nation has
But
the
Neferi is just way too safe.
Yeah, I thought for a second, like, oh man, that's really far, but intargetable. Or untargetable.
Yeah.
Oh wait, look at this TP flank from Noodles. He just TP behind Ishan. Ishan has no idea.
Yeah,
Oh, Desert's
hold on,
dead,
but
though.
has enough damage with the Spiraling Despair to be able to trade it 1 for 1. Despite 3 members of Conduit getting sent to the top side of the map. Luckily, there's not going to be much of a response from Final Boss to really find anything else on the map.
Nation, look out. They're looking for your Krugs. Nation,
going to
look
be-
out.
They don't get the big Krug, but they do
dead.
get Nation.
He is dead.
The Hound's Pursuits, both the ult and the little dog
Barolo,
swallowing up
no.
do find the kill. Barolo gets the Dazzle onto Sutek. Noodles for 2, slowly arriving. Pullback hits its way onto the Neferi, and the Cosmic Radiance comes down now to keep Barolo and Noodles more than safe, but goes untargetable. Barolo's Cosmic Radiance eventually expires. Sutek finds the kill. Noodles for 2, just a bit all over the place, not getting
the
an
guiding.
organized mark on the on any of the members of Final Boss. Eventually, the Theory goes down, pull back, going to be flashed away by Bus and Poots, autoing down. Chrome Alone flashes forward onto the Ash, has the damage to be able to get the kill onto Bus and Poots, and so Conduit managed to get a bit in return. It is this very ugly fight.
Yeah, very, very scrappy, and I think it was a... Oh, Deserin, you are...
Oh, Derizen,
Yeah,
stuck in the
goodbye.
baby cage. 2 levels down on Yikal, bonked down. Yikal finally going to have their first kill of the game, but now going to have to deal with Chrome Alone, Barolo, and Nation. Dazzle hits the mark, stun comes through. Nation, the one to secure it.
Yeah, I bet you had fun getting that kill, Yika, huh? You're no longer 05? You have a kill participation? We're gonna send 4 people on you. There is no rest for Yika in this game, unfortunately, as he is picked off after finding his solo kill. Conduit is going to try to immediately turn that into a Drake, but Final Boss is not
It's
one
not
to give
as
this up. They have the
free.
hawk shot for the info.
As they think Sutek hops over the wall, and now the 3 members of Conduit back away. Drake down to 12k, Smite claimed over to Sutek, puts Final Boss on a soul point.
Yeah, that's a sold point for Final Boss. It's going to be spawning at that 30-minute point. Now, Noodles for 2 is back on the map. The real big part about this is Noodles for 2 is very fed, but Ash can still kite this Mordekaiser if he plays it correctly. a big mistake there we saw in that top fight is Noodles for 2 ulted away Rue instead of going for the Nefiri or the Ashe, the targets that are much easier for him to run down. So, I mean, if he fixes that ult, he just sent it on Nefiri instead. It's a much different fight, but they got a little bit lucky on that wrong choice or wrong target choice and end up going overall even on that trade. Drake on the back of it as well has cut down Conduit's 100 gold lead. Unfortunately, they don't have it anymore.
Yeah, the down 2K. Darren up on the map. Ishan could be in trouble. Xerath ult pop. Nasian with the depth charge. Eventually going to find its way onto Ishan. Who, yeah, why is Ishan flashing? Nasian will be the one to secure the kill. Bliss and Poots not going to hit the crystal arrow onto Chrome alone. So we won't quite be able to find the counter onto because as I say, that Hound's Pursuit available to Sutek. Hook lands a mark. Chrome alone, just nothing to do on this Smolder. Sutek going forward with another Hound's Pursuit onto Drizzen. The Cosmic Radiance won't land in time to save Drizzen. Bliss and Poots going to be targeted out by Noodles for 2 though, and here comes Noodles on the Mordekaiser. Has the full stacks of the W, gets the big shield. Nation goes back in. Pullback hits onto Yeecall. Noodles with the passive burns him down. A shutdown onto Rue as well for Noodles for 2. Gets his 11th kill of the game, and as soon as Noodles arrives, it's able to turn the fight every time.
Yeah, Noodles finds the flank on that fight, and like I said, finds the ult onto the Ashe, so Ashe cannot play her space and kite properly. Goes down, and then from there, Noodles for 2 is just free to walk where he pleases. No slows to hold him down. Absolutely wipes the fight. Does use the Zonias, but he has it fully built, so it's going to come back up for the next fight that he needs to have it on. And just like that, this game just keeps on going back and forth. During that fight as well, important to point out, Chrome alone has finally hit that 225 mark, so that execute is now on board.
And it does help out quite a bit for the Smolder to be able to take over these team fights, though Chrome alone hasn't really been allowed in any team fights up until this point, so we'll have to stay safe. But it's really difficult to do when you have the likes of Nefiri on the enemy team. Especially an 11 kill Nefiri.
Yeah, especially in Nefiri that clicks ult on you and then half your health is gone immediately.
Yeah.
It's, oh no, we are caught.
Sutek will be sent to the death realm by Noodles for 2. Obliterate hits the mark. Trapped in the blue buff corner, eventually comes out. Obliterate drops. Noodles for 2 picks up their 12th kill of the game. Pullback, not quite going to land the mark onto Bliss and Poots, but with no jungler available. Enchanted Crystal Arrow from Nation hijacked away, not quite going to hit the mark. Flash forward from Barolo really did not have. That was a very ambitious flash dazzle.
He wasn't even in flash range. It was.
I don't know what Barolo was looking for there. Well, I know what he was looking for. I don't know what he saw out, like what the chances were. That's probably the more correct assessment. Noodles for 2, going to be stuck in the baby cage of Yeecall, but more like Yeecall stuck in with Noodles. Going to pop the Zonias, and Chrome alone arrives, gets the executes. Another kill gets its placed on Yeecall. Nation goes forward. Flash of Duck hits the mark onto Ishan. Drizzen going to chuck him down below half HP. Goes golden for now. Ishan goes feared perfectly away from Ishan. Severing Bolt hits the mark, and Ishan makes the 2v4 a kill in favor of himself. Impressive play from Ishan.
Such a beautiful fear, and now the Fury's back up on that. Flash going
in. I mean, it may have been necessary, to be fair to him, considering how much damage Sutek does, but it did look kind of funny on his screens, considering how far away
Sutek not again, please.
For 2, going to dodge out the Obliterates. Will escape. The rocket belt
no
used
flash.
by Noodles for 2. Yeah. No Proto Belt either. Now Drizzen in range of Sutek, just the ult and the E. Yeah. Enough to completely remove Drizzen.
Yeah, and now we're TPing bot. Yeecall splitting again.
Oh, don't tell me. No, because Noodles for 2, Barolo, and Chrome alone will be able to stop this.
No, they're coming back this time, but they give up Soul to do it. So Yeecall will die here, 100%. But he secures his team Soul. He's going to crack the inhib as well. Not too bad.
Will he? Does he? Okay, yeah, he does.
Yeah, I mean, that's very worth for him. You are
Yeah, I mean,
risking
he's-
maybe a Baron start with, like, Xerath TPing up, but I don't think they're ready to pull that trigger.
You say that. There is some
Yeah,
movement now. There's the recall from Buss and Boots. It would definitely not be a wise choice. But that doesn't mean that I've not seen. Okay, wait, no, hold up. Surely we're not. They're not.
Did
doing
someone
it.
say
They're
wise
just getting the
okay.
vision. They're just going to get the vision. They're not going to start it up. They're not going to do anything stupid just yet on the side of Final Boss.
Well,
That being
Barolo
said,
is doing
Barolo
something a little
might
bit
be
stupid.
down to half HP. Sutek going to very easily just hop away. Gets yet another kill. 13th of the game to the Neferi and the jungler Final Boss. Looking like one of the two final bosses of this game between
Unless you eat it.
themselves and Noodles. Yeah. That being said, both Noodles for two.
Ishan's
One of the
ultimate.
other ones, Ishan's going to flash away from the pullback. Will land the Spiraling Despair, stays alive long enough, gets the fear onto Noodles, goes golden. And now the hook lands onto Noodles for two. Sutek not quite getting enough damage, finally getting the mark, but he lives long enough to be able to trade the kills back onto Rue and Sutek. Nation is still alive and Ishan is very low. Abscond for it onto the Abduct, which lands the kill over to Nation, and with Baron up, Conduit will look to be able to claim it for themselves.
It was great kiting from Ishan inside the Death Realm, but you didn't have your Ashe there, which is a large part of your damage along with that Neferi. So overall, in that extended play, no ADC means no win. Baron is going to be started up on the back of it, and they have their smite up. They're going to try to contest it with the Yorick and the Ashe, but it's a dangerous spot for them.
Yeah, it is a 2v4, but the health bars are full on the side of Final Boss. Yukon going to get sneezed on by Chrome alone. And now the Xerath ult pops, the Cosmic Radiance drops down for any sort of damage. Baron goes the way of Conduits. Yukon and Buss and Poots don't look to push any further. Of course, why
I mean,
did I
they're
say
gonna
that?
find Barolo here, baby.
And Nation will steal away the Enchant Crystal Arrow, won't quite get it to land onto Buss and Poots. The response does hit the mark on to Nation, who does go golden. Barolo sticking around to try to heal and shield as much as possible onto Nation. The Abduct not going to hit the mark onto Buss and Poots. Some really good footwork there from the ADC of Final Boss to survive and be able to pick up 2 kills for themselves on the side of Final Boss. They're pushing into the mid lane. They might even look for a bit more.
Find the hook.
Yeah, onto Noodles for 2. Going to send Buss to the Death Realm, though. And so, on such low health, the Obliterate's going to drop down. And in fact, do exactly what the ability name says onto Buss and Poots. Be able to return a kill back over to Conduit.
Alright, normally when you pick up Baron, you're okay trading 1 death for it. When it's 2, it feels a little bit worse. Yikov finds a top tower as well during that whole entire skirmish in mid. The gold is completely even right now, but Final Boss is having more success on this Baron than
Going to drop,
Conduit
hits
is.
its way onto Sutek. 3, 4. Mark's actually only the 3 going to hit Sutek. So the Neferi stays alive, but some very accurate work from Derizen. Not quite enough to be able to secure any kills.
Alright, it feels like this game is going to come down to the Elder fight in 2 minutes. That's really it. It is, we are flipping this Elder Drake. Whoever gets it, I feel like just closes out the game. I mean, it is just on a knife's edge here. If we can, if Final Boss, the Royal We, can find the chunk onto some front line, such as an Asian, or find Barolo maybe pushed up too far. It's gonna be
Asian
easy.
had already used the Abscond Abduct and no CC to stop Sutek. Picks up their 16th kill of the game. Completely unstoppable for Conduit.
Yeah, Sutek is having an absolute game, just finding people isolated over and over again, chaining the deaths, and I mean, we are seeing how much he is rewarded for it. Now Ryu is going to be the one caught out, though.
Yeah, but Ishan is nearby. Rue getting chunked low, going to have to flash over the wall. Xerath ult popped. Now Mom called, hits nobody. Noodles for 2, going to send Ishan to the Death Realm, doing their best to escape. Get that they are on a.
This one push!
That Sutek, don't tell me this don't tell me this happens again. In fact, it won't, because Chrome Alone has arrived. Sutek's already used their invulnerability. to be able to go untargetable. Barolo flashes forward, gets the dazzle onto Bus and Poots. Noodles for 2, hits an obliterate. Dazzle, second time, not quite going to land onto Bus, but the obliterate lands once again. Yeecall now in the top lane, do his best to take this top lane inhibitor back away.
Whoa.
Flash forward, gets the powered auto attack onto Chroma, and I feel like he should have just gone for the inhibitor. Ace goes the way of Conduit with the Elder Drake spawning in 50 seconds. So luckily Final Boss will at the very least be back on the map for it. But it does give a lot of real estate for Conduit.
Yeah, you said it. They're going to have free vision control of this Drake. Wherever they want to play, they basically can play it. Nation is cutting off this wave for reasons unknown. There's a wave behind them that's hitting his bot lane. This doesn't really do much. They are not setting up for this Drake at all. They have 5 dead. They have the perfect setup that they want for this Elder to try and play in a bush, maybe find someone walking back alone, but instead they're not taking it. Xerath sent top to push a wave, Silas sent bot to push a wave, and these death timers that you had now don't feel as effective maybe. They're still going to try to look for it now.
Naru going to be hit by the Abduct and everyone else on the side of Final Boss. Sutek going to go really deep and goes to target. Nation gotten very low. Does not die through all of it. And so no smite available to the side of Fight. Don't tell me. Yeecall once again. He's going to target the top lane. Nexus turret now. Noodles for 2. Drops the obliterate. Get the Nexus tower. Does force a response from all the members of Conduit. Maybe a little bit of a too much of a response, because now over in the jungle, Barolo wouldn't do his best to get the stun onto Bus and Poots, but Derizen already forced away by Rue and Ishan. Derizen do his best to find his way onto Ishan. Abduct hits the mark onto Bus and Poots, securing the kill for Conduit. Nation now gets the gets the ult from the Nautilus on back from whence it came. And so Conduit responds in time. Ishan in trouble with the flap over from Chromalone, secures the ace for Conduit and the Elder Drake. They've got to push in the bot lane. They're going to look to end. Sutek though will be back up in 5 seconds. But with the Elder Drake and the Elder buff in hand to the side of Conduit, at least eventually, it'll be a last grasp defense for this Neferi, though, to be fair, if you want one on the side of Final Boss, this is exactly the person you want to be holding down the fort. Sutek going to be tagged out by Chromalone. Going to be with the burn. Does not look like Conduit want to push their luck any further.
All right, Baron is up in 30 seconds with Elder Drake up. It's a very easy fight for Conduit to take if they want the Baron. Right now, Final Boss sort of just needs to stall out the game until this Elder is down. Gold at this point doesn't really matter. We're once again at 40 minutes into the game. Conduit has a gold lead, but most people are at or around full build to where the gold lead is sort of fake. It doesn't have that impact anymore. Right now, it's just going to come down to the pure execution of both teams. Who is able to clutch it up and close out this game?
It does also help that with Baron being the only objective up, that it is the bot lane inhibitor that is missing for Final Boss. Noodles for 2, going to get stuck in the baby cage. The Maiden doing a ton of damage now at max rank. Noodles for 2 in a bit of trouble. Obviously with the Elder Drake advantage, you would hope that Noodles could be able to find the fight and actually burning down Yeecall very low. Yeecall goes forward, will finally go down. Perhaps played his hand a bit too aggressively once he saw the Maiden damage. So we'll be taking another minute to respawn.
Yeah, just a little bit too quickly played by Yeecall. With that Elder Drake up, you just need to let your Maiden do all the work. If Noodles dies there, it's great for you, but Yeecall dying on the side is worse, because now, look! Baron is started off of that, and Final Boss can't really face check. They don't have a great true tank to try and stop that Baron. It is should just be given over to Conduit, although nothing is guaranteed in these games.
Nah, it seems pretty guaranteed. Baron goes the way of Conduit. It's not going to be any sort of response from Final Boss, as to be fair is kind of expected. All 5 members of Conduit, yeah, it is Elder stalled out at the very least, but Chromalone, 11 kills on the Smolder, full build as well with this late game carry. I mean, on top of what Noodles for 2 has been doing, and their gold lead. Surely, this is the moment Conduit needs to be able to close out the game.
I mean, they have Baron, they have the Elder, they've taken control of the map. So many waves are stacked onto each other, getting the push down. Gonna be a chunk here as well from the Xerath. Who's just on a nice edge right now.
On to Ishan. Yikal is back up and available. The Maiden going to be killed though. Noodles for 2 not going to be as threatened as he was last time by the Maiden. Got 2 siege minions hitting away and going to make that 3 now onto the mid lane tower of Final Boss. Tier 3 opened up. Inhibitor on the top side going to be gone. Same as the mid lane. Completely open base from Final Boss. Well, not completely. We've still got the last few Nexus turrets. That being said, Hook's going to go its way in onto Chrome alone. And Nation going to go golden. But the return damage from the Smolder is way too much. And with that execute, range is getting very low. Sutek's going to go untargetable. Going to have to return to the tower, but that gives Conduit the space they need to open up the Nexus. Way too many minions for Final Boss to handle. And so Conduits end up taking game 2 slowly, but surely they find the Nexus.
Yeah, it looked a little bit shaky in that early game.
A little bit.
A little
very
bit.
shaky.
But they had the scaling. They once again made it to that 40-minute mark in the game. This time it's going to fall their way instead of Final Boss. And Noodles just having an insane game on the Mordekaiser in this top side.
Oh, yeah.
17, 3, and 9, 56k damage. He just completely ran the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's the big reason why Conduit was able to eventually scale. So it required so much attention from the side of Final Boss to handle. And even though Final Boss a few times were looking like they may be, that's a very big maybe, able to handle the Mordekaiser of Noodles as soon as they got to that point. Well, the Smolder came online, and I mean, yeah, just take one glimpse. Chromalone's damage, that the vast majority of that 49k damage probably came in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the game. So,
man, that's
yeah,
when he
really
needed him most.
Yeah, and so we've had 2 40-plus minute games that went back and forth. Conduit going to be the victors this time around. Sends this series level at 1 apiece. But when we come back, we have the draft of game 3. Got to strap ourselves in, because if these first 2 games are anything to go off of, we could be here for quite a while, Pelly. So don't go anywhere. Actually, you might want to give yourself a little break, because that's what we will do now. We'll see you on the other side of it in just a few short moments. are back for the draft of Game 3 between Conduit and Final Boss. It's been an absolute slog up until this point, Pelly. Two 40-plus minute games that were absolute seesaws, so we're going to have to strap ourselves in once again. We might be here for a while, and with Final Boss locking in Sivir.
I don't think
Definitely
it's Final
feels-
Boss. I think that's Conduit, because I don't think Final Boss would ban away their own Kayn.
Oh, you know what? That is true. We are going to get an update on that front. Looks like Loki is going through. So it looks like Conduit is going to be looking like they're going to strap in and get prepared to go another 41 plus minutes. But on the side of Final Boss, their response, hovering the Lucian. Instead, they go for the
Ooh.
Corki, and that kind of does fit the bill. I was almost excited there for a little bit that we might be getting some aggression, but it does look like both teams are just kind of accepting the fact that we're going to be having 40 plus minutes all day today.
I mean, Corki himself isn't too bad in the early game still. Definitely doesn't have that early fighting power that the Lucian does, but he's able to make a few plays in bot lane. As we're going to see, is Zaheem locked in here early. I'm not quite sure of the champ pool on the side of Final Boss, but it's a pretty good flex in
Sutek.
between top and jungle.
Sutek really loves the Zahin, so
Okay.
I would be surprised to see it go into into the hands of Yikal. I mean, I guess Yikal definitely can play the Zahin, but considering how much Sutek has popped off on this champ specifically, it is very likely to be in his hands. Meanwhile, the response from Conduit, they also agree that it's very likely going to be in the jungle, so they respond with the Viego from themselves.
Man, Karma is sort of insane here for Conduit if they find it on 3. Sivir Karma is in an incredibly strong lane in bot. Karma works great with Viego as well to provide shielding to get that first reset. I think any enchanter here works. You have Lulu, you have Milio, there's the Lulu hover. Yeah, I think any enchanter here works really well for the Conduit side. Is Final Boss going to try to punish it with the hook, or are they just going to pair Corki up with the classic Nami is the question.
Corki Nami, obviously having a lot of popularity, at least earlier in this year. It's kind of fallen down the pecking order a little bit over time, but still definitely very potent, considering they've been hovering it for a while, and considering that out of all the enchanters that Rue plays, this is her most favored pick. It will be the lock-in, finally, from Final Boss.
All right, so it's going to be the Sivir Lulu and Corki Nami in the bot lane. Lulu is so annoying for Final Boss to play into in bot lane, because Corki is a pretty close range ADC, so that means if he ever uses his dash to go in and trade, Lulu gets the polymorph, and that trade is sort of suddenly just lost. Picks being attached to Sivir as well as with the W bounces can also be extremely annoying, especially just for wave clear. They will just have full control of this wave, as right now for the bans we see Akali and Talia taken out for now. We will see what else gets banned. I'm surprised they actually ban Akali when they have a Lulu on their side.
Yeah, it's one that's relatively easy to polymorph, and with the wild growth becomes really difficult for the Akali to handle. But it does seem like Conduit aren't going to be wanting any assassins coming from the side of Final Boss with the LeBlanc takeaway. And so with bot and jungle locked in on both teams, Final Boss going to go for the Aurora, one of those champions that can be flexed between a mid and top.
Yeah, it is flexible. I almost always see it mid, to be fair, but Yika could break it out in top lane, try to get a little bit fancy. We saw him struggle in that melee versus melee matchup. Maybe wants to have a ranged top laner instead to play around that a little bit. But if they do that, they are struggling with frontline if they choose to put that Aurora top. Right now, we see Conduit answer with the Vigar. Very hard for Final Boss to play around this cage. They have no reliable way to get out besides their flashes. So I think Vigar is a great pick. And again, these first 2 games have gone to 40 minutes. We know we want to play for scaling. We know how Vigar scales.
Yeah, infinitely with the phenomenal evil power. Shin also going to be locked in from Conduit. as if the carries of Conduit needed any more protection with the Lulu, the Shin, and the Stand United going to be coming in for them on whoever final boss happened to target. Alawi.
Oh,
It's a
I
hover.
don't like this.
Ooh,
I don't
surely
like
not.
it. Don't do it. Don't do
Right?
it. Don't,
They go for it. They did it.
You're you're playing into Sivir and Vigar and Lulu. It not only is it 3 range champions, which makes Alawi's life miserable in general, you're playing into Lulu. So even if you get your ult slam down, if you get polymorphed, you can't get W to continue that tentacle slam, to continue to get your life steal and play that drain tank you need to.
Yeah, I mean it's good into the Shen, but like,
It's good into the Shen, but we saw last game Yika took a
Yeah.
favorable matchup in top lane with the Yorick into the Mordekaiser and didn't perform on it. So we're again
Yeah.
picking for the lane matchup. He needs to have a much better game here. If we are
Yeah.
continuing to do lane counters like this.
Yeah, and also from Conduit, you mentioned the Vigar, but I mean it is absolutely massive considering how close range final boss is, and as you mentioned how now with the Alawi locked in, there's not really any way for them to escape the event horizon once they're on the inside of it. And honestly, unless the final boss completely dominate the early game and walk away at 25 minutes with a 10k gold lead, I'm not entirely sure how they'll manage to be able to navigate this game.
Yeah, no, I think based on draft here, Conduit has a much easier time, especially with how the series has been going, how long the games have been going. I think Conduit has a pretty easy route to a win here.
Yeah, so we are going to be looking at final boss, and the owners will be on them to be able to come out swinging in a big way. We haven't really seen that from either team, and actually when we did in game 1 from Conduit, they weren't able to hold on to that said lead. So we'll need a huge step up from final boss for them to take game 2. Otherwise, they might be throwing themselves with their backs against the wall to a match point over to Conduit. We'll figure out how that plays out in a few short minutes after the spectator lane when we've loaded onto the Rift. We'll see you there. And we are ready to go for a third time today between Conduit and Final Boss. Who, if anything is if the first two matches are anything to go by, we could be here for quite a while. So get ready, Pelly. We're gonna be here for another 40 minutes. If just
But it's okay. We have 4-leaf clover Vigar. He's wishing us luck.
Oh,
on our
of
path. How kind.
course. The luck here will actually probably be needed in large part for Final Boss, as we did sort of cover in the draft. That's neither of us are particularly big fans of what they've gone for.
No, not really.
Yeah.
Vigar seems very, very strong with this cage. Yikaz picked another counter in lane, but we saw last game the counter in lane didn't work out for him, so we need to see a big turn from him in order to make that be worth it. Have that R5 being given to him have an impact. And across the map, looking at summoners right now, everything seems pretty stock standard. I don't see anything too out of the ordinary. Maybe you can say like Vigar has Comet instead of like, I don't know, Electrocute or Dark Harvest, but Comet works just fine. It really isn't that crazy.
Level 2 advantage. Rue not quite going to land the bubble though. Press forward from Bus and Poots, chunks out Borello and Crumble in a decent amount, but Bus and Poots may have gone a bit too far forward. Not going to be lining up with Rue all that much. He'll going to drop from Bus and keep him alive for a little longer. Barriers traded exactly at the same time. Going to flash away from the boomerang blade of Promalone. So Bus and Poots going to be down a very key summoner spell for the foreseeable future.
So what happened there is that Bus and Poots and Rue got the level 2 first. But Barillo was able to stand there and auto-attack Bus and Poots, while Rue was standing pretty far behind where he couldn't put down auto-attacks at all, or she couldn't put down auto-attacks at all. So they had the level disadvantage, but they had the damage because of Lulu being able to auto, and that's how they lose that trade. And now they're going to find the shove under the tower. It's probably just going to take their reset off of it as the taunt goes in. An early gank from Majin. Yikaz in trouble.
Will find his way onto Yikal, but will be having a decent amount of healing on the Alawi, and Nation going to drop an auto attack, secures first blood. Noodles for 2 able to get out of range in time.
Well, that is really, really bad for Yikal.
Yeah.
Gets killed by the early gank. We see the invade from
Poots. Valkyrie forward, has no mana. Crumble and autoing away, gets a second kill for Conduit in the 2v2. It's gone really quickly from bad to worse for Final Boss.
Yeah, and now we're on the invade. Nation doesn't know he's here, but Nation is just a level up. He's gonna spot him now.
Yeah, dreaded
Nation
return will pull back Nation. Noodles for 2 is going to make it more than just a 1v1. Sun going to drop down on the WC Tech, going to steal away the blue buff, but it's going to be given over to Derizen. Oh my gosh, that's oh no.
Well, guys, I'll see you in game 4. It is not looking fun for the side of Final Boss right now. That is
good at all for them.
As a jungler, I look at this game and I'm like, my team died 3 times before I finished my first clear. I'm in a nightmare.
Yeah, and well, it was, to be fair, it was 2 times. It was only 2. Sutek was
part of the problem.
Sutek was the 3rd death, but still, yeah, it's already dire for Final Boss, and we're only 4.5 minutes in. They needed to get the advantage in this game, and well, that's not how you do it.
Here's the good news. Okay, Bubble gets spell shielded. Here's the good news. We're ganking
the gank
top.
Comes up to the top lane. Noodles for 2.
Doesn't kill.
Won't die.
Okay.
He did flash though.
get the flash, and the actual good news, Yika's still up on farm, even after taking that early death. So he's not too bad in gold overall. He's still going to be up on the farm. He should still be around even with this Shen. So that early death isn't going to do too much for him in his lane. But, of course, it gave that extra gold over to the Viego who got the first blood. So it puts your jungler a little bit behind, but you're fine in top. And if you're top, you're like, well, I'm chilling. I'm fine.
Yeah, and I mean that really is the story of it. I mean, Conduit completely happy with how everything's going, and can't just, I mean, not relax just yet, but being 1.5k gold up already when the Onerous was on final boss to be able to get a lead is yeah,
And
certainly comfortable, and picking up the Drake basically as it spawns. Sutek will try to find a way in onto Nation. Traded return does hit the mark. Smite drops down from Nation, from Sutek on to the Scuttle Crab to be able to trade it back to themselves. But the Primordial Burst going to secure a kill over to Derizen, giving himself even more AP. 2 kills now on the Vigar at 6 minutes.
Suket has now traded his life twice for a camp. The first time it was blue buff. This time it's Scuttle. We're going to the Blabber camp of jungling right now.
That was my exact thoughts. Was especially with the fact that the second one was the Scuttle Crab. He didn't get it though. He did in fact.
He got it.
he got what he came for.
If he is in fact going to the Blabber school of jungling, he's gonna be happy.
That's how you do
I don't
it.
think
Yeah,
his team is.
Oof.
He's just gonna sidestep
This
that.
is where I'm going to make both of us feel old. That was 7 years ago. That MSI where the Blabber Crabber.
It was 2019, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that was 7 years ago.
Oh yeah, that is 7 years ago.
It's oh wait, hold up.
Yika ulting
Yika
for
going to drop an
reasons?
ult.
Why?
The test of faith. I feel is more so testing my faith than it is Noodles for 2 in this pick. I'm going to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's just I don't see why we're using ult there. I guess maybe by some miracle Noodles for 2 walks back in because his mouse disconnects, but there's never going to be a kill there. We're going to get the taunt now. Now with the Lowy ult down and no mana, Noodles for 2 is going to have a very fun time with this trade.
Yeah, and also had gone for the Ignite as well, even in the counter pick. Yikal, these last 2 games, I think it's fair to say, he's not really gone the way that final boss would have hoped for.
Yeah, and this isn't the Shen of old where you build full tank. This is new current Shen where you build the Dusk of Dawn, you build the Titanic Hydra, and you can chunk people out. So it's not such a free lane for Yika. You still have to be cognizant of this Shen's damage output. Right there, we see why. With the no mana from Yika, absolutely chunked, has to use his TP, but he is setting himself up a little bit of a freeze to deny some minions away from Noodles.
Yeah, it'll, help alleviate the pain a little bit. Still down 2k gold across the board on the side of final boss, though. Listen, Poot's going to do a good job of chunking out Provolone. Won't get any summer spells out of the Conduit ADC, though.
Yeah, it is a great chunk, but I think big problem here for the side of final boss is that the early objectives have gone to Conduit, who's playing the full scaling team. Rue is sacrificing everything to stop that back. He will get it. But they're sacrificing so many early objectives when they want to be the ones to get it, when they're the ones who are supposed to be strong in early game. We have a gank in mid.
Ishan almost gets the kill onto Derizen. The Heartbreaker drops down, not going to be enough to kill Ishan, and now with the arrival of Sutek, good stand united from Noodles for 2 to be able to come back with the counter punch. Sutek will get the revive, but Ishan is so low that there's just going to be no hope once he comes back up. Event Horizon going to stun him up. Nation going to secure the kill. 5-0 to Conduit, and The caster curse is a thing we have to be responsible with, but
Oh.
actually, Noodles for 2 won't get the taunt, and it won't matter.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, did not matter at all.
That's just to show you that he didn't need the taunt, you know?
Yeah, that's the psychological warfare right there. Yeah.
If I'm playing on Final Boss right now, I'm already pretty psychologically broken. It feels like the comp that we drafted for to be dominant and early is not going our way. Every lane just has a lead right now. Everyone on the side of Final Boss is behind. And there's only so many ways we can say that the game is going bad for them. I can break out the thesaurus and try to get a little bit fancy, but it's just not going well for them. They're just in a bad spot.
Yeah, just taking a quick glance at the top of your screen, I mean, says more than enough to how Game 3 is. I guess the next Drake is up and available. Probably not going to be much of a turnaround. It's just a phase going to be used by Yeehaw. We'll chunk Noodles for 2 out an okay amount. About it though. So going to be very comfortable.
It's the
Taunt
taunt.
will
Again,
land.
no
Noodles
mana.
for 2 is going to look for even more. Tentacle slam down, not quite going to hit Noodles for 2. As you mentioned, no mana on Yeehaw. Noodles for 2 is fighting in the minion wave, going to make himself invulnerable, goes forward, but a good use of the vision denial from Yeehaw in the bush will be able to give them over a shutdown.
Okay, a little bit poorly played from Noodles there. Didn't have to force as hard as he did. Gives Yeehaw the kill over, and that maybe tower off the back of it as well. We're not committing to it. We don't want to extend too far. Just going to be happy with our kill. I don't hate that, because Ishan is going to be trapped in the cage here.
Yeah, Nation going to be blocked by the minions, so we can't land the stun and follow up for a kill. Though Ishan chunked down to about half HP.
Yeah, and this suboptimal early game from Final Boss, maybe turning around a little bit with Yeehaw finding that kill. He is 2 levels up on Noodles right now. Although it is not Noodles' job to win lane. It is Noodles' job to play for his team, make sure everyone else is ahead, and right now that has happened. So the big part for him now is just trying not to die in that side lane, to collect as much XP and minions as he can, to just able to fully support his team.
Yeah, and I mean, especially when you have a 2-kill Veigar,
Everyone?
or a 2-kill everyone. Sorry, I was choking on my own slide there a bit, but yeah, it is in fact Derizen with the 2 kills on the Veigar already has the Rod of Ages as well, so going to become even more and more dangerous as the game goes on, and even just that much more difficult to kill as well. It's I mean, yeah, it's not great. It's it's not.
Yeah, we are not the best players, but this is still a little bit Bush League. If you could not tell, I did actually pull up the thesaurus. And yes, I will have fun with that. Here's the taunt.
What other fancy
We'll get there.
words? Oh, okay. I'll keep my eyes open. I'll like, am my eyes open? What the heck? Yeah, I'm going to see the thesaurus that you're using through the. You know, actually, you know what? No, I'm going to cast this blind from now on. Eyes closed. Who needs to see the screen? I shall use.
Alone.
I shall use the force to be able to understand what is happening here in game 3, and the force is telling me, it looks like Conduit's winning, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it has slowed
Very
down. They're
insightful.
only up 2k now. So the snowbally lead that they had early is not being snowballed anymore. But again, they're not too worried
They
about
don't really
that,
need
how
to,
well their
though.
comp scales. Yeah, they don't need to.
And
Puss in
Polymorph
Boots.
drops down, Puss in Boots. The tidal wave comes through, makes its way onto Barolo. Good bubble, gets the way down. Few auto attacks, all that's even left, but the wild growth is enough to keep the Lulu alive. So no kills to the bot lane of Final Boss, but finally signs of life before we get to that. Yeehaw going to use the test of faith onto Noodles for 2 and for Nation. Noodles for 2 going to claim it with the Ignite. And Yeehaw continuing his struggles up here in the top lane. Though, to be fair, in the 2v1, got somewhat close. Sutek?
Yeah, Yika's only died to the gank, so his laning phase has been a lot better. Unfortunately, the game's not a 1v1. And Yika's finding that out
As much as
firsthand.
top laners would love it to
As
be.
much as top laners would like it to be. It is not, sadly. And it's really keeping Noodles in this game. It's been a dominant laning phase for Yika. I mean, he's up 50 CS. Up, what is it? It's 3 plates now. Gonna be 2 after this one goes down. So he's done a really good job in the top side, but unfortunately, Nation has been there on timers where Yika has just overextended just a little bit too much.
Yeah, and going to hamper his progress a little bit and accelerate Nation, who has a 300 gold shutdown under his belt. He picks up the Rift Herald. It's going to give yet another injection of gold over to Conduit eventually to extend their lead even further. Very least, Yukol, left alone up in the top lane, will take down the top lane tier 1. So, even though he's been killed twice, I mean, maybe. I still don't think there's much this Alawi can do as the game goes on, but maybe Yukol can.
In the 1v1, you're very happy.
Oh,
but
tidal wave going to come through, not going to hit the mark. Noodles for 2, going to finally engage onto Yikol's Nation is nearby. Waves drops down a ton of damage. Stand United going to be used to keep his jungler alive, but stays still through the Stand United, ensures Yikol going to get his second kill of the game. It's a double stun from the Event Horizon from Derizen. Will keep him alive, but chunked down to sub 50% HP. Yikol, okay, maybe. You know what? Hold on. Maybe Yikol can surprise us this game. It's starting to look a little bit more likely.
I am so confused on why Nation is ever going topside, though. You know your topside is sort of just a sacrifice for his team. You know that Yika has the advantage. You're putting your 2 melee champs into the Alawi with her ults up. It's just really bad micro play. Or macro play, and they're gonna give over a Drake for it as well. Like, we should just be ignoring this Alawi. Noodles just catches the wave, backs off the best he can. We should not be ganking him. But now Chrome Alone's too hard.
The Rift Herald dies, going to spell shield away the dreaded return, so able to create space for himself. Wild Growth going to be used down and unavailable to Conduit now. But all the while, Derizen in the bot lane is allowed to push in and open up the map a little bit more in favor of Conduit.
Yeah, and right now, feels like Conduit has the kills, but their play around the map has been sort of inferior.
Going to look to try to find a stun onto Buss and Poots. Does just that. Heartbreaker not quite going to come through. Now teleport response from Ishan comes through between worlds. Unavailable for the time being. Baby Cage going to create the space that Conduit needs to be able to buy the time to reset. Heals now coming through from Rue. Going to force the recalls out of Conduit and ensure that nothing will come of this fight.
Yeah, a bunch of positioning around mid lane, ultimately for nothing. Ishan does commit the TP just to make sure nothing pops off too hard, so he won't have that up for, I don't know, the Baron in 2 minutes, but we shouldn't see a 20-minute Baron start by Conduit, especially not with this comp that they're rocking. They really come online once they hit that 2 or 3 items. Looking across the board, both the Sivir and the Vigar already have one, as I think Rue has stepped a little bit too far here.
Go down a bubble towards Chrome Alone. Sure that Rue can escape. And with the arriving Sutek, it's definitely a wise choice for them to back away and reconsider the situation for the time being, because got a while before the next few objectives come up. I mean, as you mentioned already, the 20-minute mark will be the Baron coming up. Got another 3 minutes until the next Cloud Drake is available.
Yeah, and as the side of Conduit, you don't necessarily have to play for the Cloud Drake. You are a hard scaling team. You can just try and make a play topside. The problem is, the person who's topside is Alawi, and we saw how well that goes if it's Shen and Viego alone trying to kill her. So they have to make a decision here coming up in about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Do they want to play for this Drake, or are they going to try to make a split map play instead?
I mean, the Baron is still a pretty audacious attempt at a take. I mean, the Drake doesn't need a full 5 commitment over to it to go over. Bubble going to land its way on Drizzen. Bliss and Boots might have gone too far forward. Of course, as I say that, flash forward from Ishan does not hit Chrome alone. Would have been really good for Ishan and Final Boss if they would be able to kill the Conduit ADC. And now Sutek in a bit of trouble, stunned up by everybody, nowhere to go. The kill will hand its way over to Nasian. Drizzen now going to pick up the kill on the mid lane. Ishan removed from the map at the perfect time to find the kills of the mid jungle duo of Final Boss. Baron's up on the map though. It doesn't look like Conduit's all that interested in it. They're looking for more. Forbidden Horizon not quite going to hit the mark on Zabus and Poots. Mid lane tier 2 tower just going to be their reward.
It's just a paltry play from Ishan there, trying to finish off the kill with the flash QE damage. But as soon as it misses, he puts himself in such a horrible spot. And we talked about in this draft for Conduit, the Lulu supporting the Viego to get his reset. He got it super quick in that fight, and after that, Ishan was left all alone just to die on the side lane. Yika was able to take the top tier 2 while this was happening though, so Yika is still incredibly strong on this side lane. It really is up to him right now to see how he can transfer this into the late game fights, but it is not easy for him. He needs a little bit of some missteps from Chrome alone to really find true value.
Yeah, and especially when he's the only reason why the gold deficit isn't as massive as it ought to be, sitting at, well, near a flame horizon over Noodles for 2, though considering how much Noodles has contributed to these team fights, I don't think he necessarily minds all too much, though it does make answering Yee-Call just a little bit more difficult. But now with Yee-Call walking forward in, like, to lead these team
we're
fights.
At Baron instead of Drake. Drake is up in 10, but we're starting Baron instead.
I'd like to see the health bar on the Baron. Currently, has mentioned
Why are we
started
doing
up
this?
by Conduits. Very least top lane tier 1 goes over to Noodles for 2. Yee-Call leading the line for Final Boss, slowly getting chunked out. Sutek in a bit of trouble, not quite going to get hit by Event Horizon, but in the midst of 4 members of Conduit, Tidal Wave will get Sutek out.
Why did we do this?
Either way, but all the while, the Drake has been started up by the side of Final Boss. Nation eventually moves down. It's a bit too late. Flash forward, finds the stun onto Bush and Poots, but stays alive for just a little bit longer. Follows up, finally comes down. Nation gets the kill onto Bush and Poots, now stealing away all the separate members of Final Boss. Gets the Aurora, but does have to ult away. Shutdown goes away of Yee-Call, slamming down the tentacles. Another one, a third for Yee-Call. Triple kill over to the Alawi. Drizzen has nowhere left to go. Quadra, Pinta maybe. Barolo does look like he's created enough space, but Yee-Call in the midst of everyone, exactly where he wants to be, picks up a quadra kill, picks up 2 shutdowns on the Alawi. We were questioning this pick even up until now, but comes up big in that fight.
Yeah, Yee-Call is having a complete turnaround from game 2 right now. Ended that game with 2 kills, now sitting at 6 off of the quadra kill around that Drake. And it was just such a confusing play from Conduit. They had Soul Point if they just played for the Drake, but instead they walk up towards the Baron, and it's sort of just an ill-fated start. They don't need to start it. Since they do, they get their armor and magic resist shredded. They have to play out, and then they just don't have the path back to the Drake in time. And even after that, they still try to force the Drake fight. It's a good reset by Nation in the back, but Yee-Call able to join late, and with all the low health bars, just absolutely shreds. So Final Boss is finding their angle back into this game. They are still down just about 1.5k, and all of their gold is on Yee-Call. If Yee-Call drops, the fight is over. You need to keep him
flash
alive.
forward from Sutek, tries to play the way onto Barolo. Now turn our attention to Chrome alone. One more auto attack from Boost and Poots won't be enough, but a lot is committed from Chrome alone to escape. Barolo's heal, the flash, and the barrier used. Bubble only going to hit its way onto Nation. Drizzen pressing forward even further, but doesn't quite have access to the baby cage that had been used earlier. But no flash, no barrier, no heal from Barolo, no ults on the bot lane of Conduit either. Very good look from Final Boss. That was advantageous for themselves.
Yeah, and we're running into a problem here for Conduit. Who is our answer into this Alawi in the side lane? I think it should be Vygar because he can just W and Q the wave and not let her ever hit tower. And then you have Shen to position in your front to try and buy space. But right now, they're keeping the Shen as the answer to it in the side, so Yika is pretty free to do whatever he wants right now. Oh no, we've
Gets
gone
into
too
the
far.
Baron pits. Not sure what you're supposed to be doing here. Primordial Burst going to do this, just that to Sutek. No jungler available to the side of Final Boss. Yika available for teleport if they try to contest it on Final Boss, though they're just poking and prodding around for now. It doesn't look like there's much interest from Yika to be able to join up, so the Baron will comfortably go the way of Conduit, but not without Noodles for 2 getting deleted by Yika.
Yeah, and now we're teleporting bot to just try and save the tower. Yika's gonna respect it and back off. Honestly, Yika may have been able to dive this because Desrun is no mana, but we don't need to get too crazy with it. We are all of our team's gold. We should not try and do crazy plays like that. Now sitting at the 7-2, already at 4 items, by the way. By far, the person with the most gold in this game. As we have Drake spawning in a minute 30. Conduit has the Baron. What value can they find with it? Are they able to find any pushes with it, with the Sivir and Vygar able to chunk towers? They can't really play for 1, because again, you have no true answer to Yika as the 1.
Yeah, and Yika definitely going to prove trouble for the side of Conduit, though admittedly it's Yika as the 1. It does give Conduit numbers advantage across the map, and Final Boss outside of Yika are relatively weak at this point in time. Sutek maybe in a bit of trouble. Will get the extra move speed away with the Cloud map. Tidal Wave going to separate out the members of Conduit and give Sutek a bit more time to escape, but look at the flank. That's exactly what our eyes were at the bottom right corner of your screen. Yiko on the flank will be taunted out and stopping up Ishan, going to chunk out Chrome alone, but a Wild Growth will keep him alive for a little bit longer. Buzz and Poot secures the kill onto the Sivir, and so 1 kill goes the way of Final Boss, but importantly, Yiko does sort of pushed away from that fight, looking for a bit more. Buzz and Poots in trouble inside the baby cage, not quite going to get stunned up, but the Primordial Burst removes the Corki from the map. Derizen now going to have to do his best to run as fast as possible with the fancy feet. He stays alive! He's still alive! I don't believe he finally goes down, but Nation going to get the reset onto Rue, speed himself up with the heal. Heartbreaker a bit too short from Ishan. Flash forward, double kill goes the way of Nation, and now Barolo arriving to help out his jungler escape. Will sacrifice himself for the greater good, but what fancy footwork from Derizen to stay alive to be able to set up Nation.
Yeah, had beautiful sidesteps and gets the stun on the cage. He was 1 auto attack from death, but Suketh wasn't able to get it. Now Yika pretty easily wins this.
Yeah, unless Chrome alone and Noodles for 2 can get the space they need to hightail out of there, in which they do. Nation is eventually arriving, Drake up and available for the side of Final Boss to start up, and now Nation may have spotted Buzz and Poots there, will do now as they walk over the ward. Noodles for 2 going to be spaced out by Yika. But now, Conduit, they're not going to be interested in for the Drake. They're going to turn to the mid lane.
They don't even commit.
But Ishan's there, and with Rue arriving, it'd be a bit difficult for them to be able to commit there, admittedly.
They still had the Baron buff. Aurora used her spells so she couldn't chunk out the wave anymore. And you know at least 2 are on Drake. I don't think you can get the tower, but I think you can at least get some plates. But instead, this Baron is pretty effectively
stalled. Speaking of the Aurora, Ishan's going to be a bit of trouble. Dive going to be set up by the side of Conduit. Teleport coming through. Baby Cage gets the stun. Wild Growth continues the knock-up. Derizen the one secure the kill with the Primordial Burst. And United drops down onto Nation. I'm not quite sure where Derizen's going, but in the midst of everyone, Sutek going to be polymorph. Flash forward now. Nation going to have to Heartbreaker away, but that just sets up Noodles for 2 for certain doom. Yika is legendary. 9 kills on the Alawi that have gone unanswered despite the start that Yika was facing. Has come back into game 3 in a massive way.
mean, yes, you find the pick onto the Aurora, but she's not very useful right now. She was 1 and 4 before that original pick started. You're diving in between the tier 2 and the tier 3 of the enemy team, and because of that, you have no way out. You lose overall on the trade. And a thing we didn't touch on while all this action was going on, Final Boss has got 3 Drakes in a row. They're now sitting on Soul Point, even though Conduit took the first 2 Drakes of the game. So this ultra scaling comp that had the lead in the early game has just been falling apart since basically minute 15, and they still have the scaling aspect, but now we have to question how well are they going to play it.
They've definitely had a few unforced errors up until this point. They are still sitting up 2k gold with a Vigar at 3 items, with a Sivir at 3 items. So long as they don't get completely split up like they were these last few times, it should be a
Like
cut.
here?
Of course, right as I say that, like here, yeah, Barolo getting killed by Sutek. Like that. So long as they don't do that, they should eventually be okay.
There's a slight problem. They have a habit of doing that.
Yeah, and now Nation going to have to use the Heartbreaker over the wall to be able to escape. No ult on the Viego for the time being, though admittedly it is a relatively short cooldown. Buss and Poots going to have to flash out of the event horizon, so there's a positive play for Conduit. No flash on Buss and Poots will make him an easier target for the coming fights.
Noodles for 2. Couldn't get the bot tower. He's gonna get smited out. He wins this 1v1, by the way. Especially with Nation now
it's not
coming in
even a
on the back of
1v1
it.
because, yeah, Nation is here. Grim Deliverance going to come through. Give him a little bit of healing, but not nearly going to be enough. Primordial Burst going to come through from the Risen to be able to pick up another in favor of Conduits, even across the map. So big ups Conduit. We were talking about how they weren't able to make these weird plays getting separated out, but they are come up in a big way there. Going to open up the base a little bit more on the side of Final Boss. We're try to say that you call. We'll push moves for 2 and Nation away.
Separated. Yeah, instead they found Final Boss separated on 2 fronts, get 2 picks, and start slowing down that game again for them. It's a minute 20 until this Drake spawns. Corki does not have the flash for this Drake spawn, so if he ever gets put in the cage, he sort of just dies. Same could go for Yeehaw if you're able to find the damage with your long range. The problem is, if we get a little bit too excited, a little too hyphy, send our Shen with the taunt on top of the caged Alawi, it could be enough healing to keep him alive. So they need to play around this cage as best as they can. Really try to play with that true lead in their Vigar.
Yeah, and now sitting on 4 items, picked up the Crypt Bloom as his 4th. To get that extra healing to keep these fights comfortable from Conduit once they get those first few kills. We'll go out there with those steps forwards. Roll drop the baby cage. Gets a stun onto 2. Completely removes Ishon. And the Stand United keeps him alive even longer. No damage dealt at all to the health bar. There's a Nation flashing forward onto Sutek. Hit by the bubble. Now News for 2 a bit separated out. Yeehaw going to grab the soul of Nation. But now News for 2 in the midst of everyone on the side of Final Boss. Buss and Poots just going to auto away down. Eventually the kill goes over to right? Yeah, Sutek will get that kill. Yeehaw in a bit of trouble, gets the dash forward onto Derizen, but a drop down of the W gives a kill onto Derizen to Yeehaw. Buss and Poots in the baby cage, as you mentioned, with no flash and a Primordial Burst, gets a double kill for Derizen. Rue going out to flash away, stun, hits the mark onto the Nami Nation, the one to secure with a Blade of the Ruined King. Teleports are getting called up to the top lane from the side of Derizen. Looking for a bit more, but instead the call from Conduit is to move to the Drake. He'll pick that up. Sutek going to dodge out the baby cage, but Derizen has more than enough damage. Between Worlds drops down, not even enough to kill Derizen, and Barolo arrives to get his mid laner on out of there. 12-2 and 6 on the Vagar. He does way too much damage at this point.
Alright, it looks like we have scaled if we are the side of Conduit. Vigar is an absolute menace right now. They're looking for the double inhib. They have Yeehaw up in 7 seconds. They definitely cannot go for the end here with how low Desrin is on this Vigar. They're going to get the double inhib. They're going to deny the soul. They're gonna continue out this game. We may get to another 40 minutes, although Conduit has a good chance to close it out beforehand if they choose to. I mean, they saw a little bit of flickering hope for final boss there with finding Noodles just a little bit too overextended. What we didn't see while that was happening is Yeehaw was getting absolutely chunked out by Desiree on the opposite side. So yeah, we found the tank, but we've traded our strongest member in Yeehaw for it. And now Yeehaw is full build level 20. He can't get much stronger. Like, he can only get an elixir, and that's as strong as he can be. So this Alawi lead is now slowly going to start disappearing the longer this game goes on.
Yeah, and it's very reliant on the side of Conduit of running into them, which means final boss do have to get a set up for Yeehaw, though Yeehaw will be here in the brush. Baby Cage not going to land the stun onto Yeehaw. Flash forward from Sutek. Dreaded return not quite going to hit Risen. So they just back away from the side of final boss, all the while in the bottom lane. Take a look at Noodles for 2 side lane and getting the push in onto the bot lane tower. Primordial Burst completely removes.
Game's just over off
Buss
that.
and Poots. Grim Deliverance drops over the top from Sutek, left completely isolated and without their ADC, without their jungler. The base is left completely open on the side of final boss. Noodles for 2, chunks Ishon for half his health. And now Baron up. It doesn't look like Conduit is even interested in taking the Baron. They're going to look to try to end right here, right now. Yeehaw does have the Test of Faith available, does have time to set up in his own base, does want to have Conduit run into him. Baby Cage not quite going to hit the mark. Flash forward from Yeehaw, but the Polymorph slows the advance of the Alawi. Not going to get much value out of the ultimate from Yeehaw. Now Risen going to try to get the rocket belt in onto the Alawi. Opens up the second Nexus tower, and they don't even need to find any of these straggling members of final boss. They take the Nexus. They take game 2 in the hands of Conduit to go 2-1 up in the series. And considering the run that final boss has been on, this is not the expected outcome that we've had so far, Pelly.
No, I think Sutek just got way too aggressive around that Baron, looking for the flash engage when no one was there with him. As soon as it failed, Conduit knew they had the free turn, and as soon as that Corki was put in the cage, I mean, just one-tapped with the ult, and I called it when it happened. That just meant the game was over. They have a 5v4 to walk into the base. No Corki up for a full minute. Sutek dies a little bit later as well, so he can't help either. And there was just a glimmer of hope in that game for final boss. Their early game was just abysmal, but Yeehaw was truly able to leverage it out and keep his team in it. But overall, at the end of the game, the scaling comp from Conduit just could not be stopped.
Yeah, and look at the damage from Risen. 58,000, nearly 60k. I mean, yeah, I mean, the kill onto Buss and Poots at the end basically summarized the sort of game that Risen had. The fact he was also gifted over that blue buff early on with the kill onto Sutek at around like 5 minutes made his lane from comfortable to an absolute breeze and didn't look back from that point. So Conduits find themselves on match point, looking to be able to upset the odds to advance to the grand finals up against the Literal Monkeys. They will have to win one more time. They'll get the chance to do so after this short break, but when we come back, it will be the draft of Game 4. So we'll see you in a little bit. So after our last game, Conduit finds themselves on match point over Final Boss, one win away from making it to the grand finals up against the literal monkeys. Final Boss going to opt to stay on the red side for their do or die match, Pelly.
Yep, so that means we're going to see the Kane ban. We'll actually see Victor subbed in for a ban this time from Conduit. And now Trundle is going to be taken out by Final Boss. A couple of new bans, but Caitlyn's still found open. And with Trundle gone without having that pillar to try and stop her, Caitlyn can be pretty scary in this backline.
Yeah, very aggressive ADC with a lot of early lane early lane presence for the side of Conduit. Zinshao, the hover from Final Boss. It's crazy that we haven't seen this champ banned away at all, and yet he still makes it to game 4, assuming that the lock-in does come through, and it does. On the side of Final Boss with their second pick, you feel like you're probably going to go with a support that that is very strong alongside the Caitlyn. I'm like, first thing that comes to my mind is maybe the Karma for the side of Final Boss, but instead they hover the Jinx.
I don't
and
like
they lock
Jinx
it
here.
in.
Jarvan's is Jarvan not still up? Am I crazy? Is Jarvan not still up?
Jarvan is still available for Conduit.
Do
to
we
go
not
for.
just pick Jarvan here and make Jinx life miserable?
They could go Jarvan Orianna and have a really easy time making Jinx's life miserable, but instead they're hovering the Jax.
Jax is a pretty strong counter pick specifically to Xin Zhao in jungle. Xin Zhao, I mean, literally is all about auto attacks. Jax can block every auto attack he chooses. Pretty strong counter pick if that ends up going into jungle. But man, I would have just loved to see Jarvan. Like, it can just completely invalidate Jinx. Maybe it's Jax top and they lock in the Jarvan here, but I doubt it.
Yeah, it'd be a very early call. The Nico, also a really good option alongside the Caitlyn. Probably one of the best options alongside the Caitlyn, which is what Conduit go for. Making the bot lane experience for Puss and Poots and Rue that much more difficult. The Rise is hovered, so if they keep up with this, it looks like Final Boss looking to save their support counter pick for a little bit later. Going to want to pick up a champion that's, once you hit 3 items, becomes very difficult to handle.
Final Boss has realized we keep on playing for scaling. What if we pick scaling? Walking in at Jinx and Rise, maybe they've cracked the code that Conduit did in Game 3. But they do drop their support, so they could be banned out here. Stuff like Leona could be gone, Rel could be gone. Any true engage is
Leona's
truly
already
punish
gone
that.
in general, but...
Oh, right. You are right. But like any other engages, like Rel could be gone. I think Rakan is still up. Rakan could be seen taken out.
Yeah.
Any like big engages to truly stop the Nico from poking is a pretty good ban from the side of Conduit. Instead, we're going to see Karma. I'm surprised that's actually still open. That's also a good ban for them to deny it from Jinx.
Yeah, and I do also like the takeaway of the Anivia from Final Boss is very much the, at least as of this year, the go-to counter pick into the Rise. You're also going to be denying a little bit more scaling with the A-Soul taken away. Meanwhile, Conduit wants to pinch the champion pool of Rue a bit more with the Karma and the Emilio taken away. So let's wait and see what Final Boss give over to what has been one of the best supports in Blue Otter Premier League for this crucial moment for themselves.
Now, what are they going to find on for here is the question. Right now, it's the Kench hover. I really like that if it gets locked in. It provides so much safety for the backline with the Jinx and the Rise. I mean, it makes it so much easier for Jinx to be that true hyper carry in the late game when you have that chance for them. Right now, it's going to be the Brand hover. It's a lot of damage, but it makes your team very squishy. We'll see if it actually gets locked in here in the mid lane.
Yeah, it does give a lot of AoE power to the side of Conduit. It is the lock-in for the Risen. Will definitely have a lot of potential with the Pyroclasm, especially with how much Final Boss's composition, at least as of now, wants to kind of group up next to each other.
Yeah, and then the question is, what's this top side on 5 that we're going to blind? Are we putting the tank in the bag? Are we picking Scion? Are we picking Ornn? Ooh, wait, is this
Ooh.
Brand Jungle?
Oh, it does appear to be that case with the Rakan lock-in. Or, yeah, because then the Nico would be mid. Yeah, okay. All right. That's
Brand
not...
Jungle.
Yeah.
I don't like it into Zinzao. But
Yeah,
it was
that's
good.
a fair point.
But we'll see how it works out. And what's their 5 answer? Akali's going to be the hover. Akali top? Into the Jax?
Akali
Are we
top
running it?
into the Jack.
We're running it.
Okay, all right. Putting Yikal on another carry pick. I mean, even though it didn't quite work out for him in the last game on the Olawi. A large part of that was because of how far behind the rest of Final Boss was, going to be putting the emphasis in the hands of Yikal once again to be able to be a big performer here in this do or die game for Final Boss.
I think Final Boss is a much more easier team comp to execute in the late game. It's just first target front to back, find your reset, let your Jinx go crazy. On the side of Conduit, it's not that easy to pilot. You don't have a true front line to easily enter any choke points if you're behind in tempo. You sort of have to play around your poke with your Nico and your Caitlyn. It's not that easy to execute, but we've seen, I mean, they're up 2 games. They've proven that they can execute when they need to, so we'll see how they pilot in this game.
Yeah, which we will do. I think the brand, though, could be potentially big for Conduit, if assuming that he doesn't get completely beat out by the Sin Shao because of how easy the Pyroclasm can be to land. And how I've seen some brands do crazy things like down 2 items and they just press R at the right time and then completely single-handedly win a fight. If it's not obvious, I have been traumatized by Brandon solo queue.
Brand is a scary guy for you. I understand.
Yeah, but we'll see how that plays out for Conduit. Coming up after the spectator delay, we'll see if Conduit can, in fact, send themselves through to the grand finals of the 3rd season of Blue Water Premier League, or if Final Boss will send us 2 silver scrapes. We'll find out shortly. Don't go anywhere.
Control.
We are going once again for the fourth time tonight on the Rift between Conduit and Final Boss. Final Boss need to win here in Game 4 to be able to ensure that their season doesn't end and give them one more chance to get to the grand finals, to where, at least before today, a lot of us were expecting them to be able to reach.
So we were all wrong, and it's actually the Nico top.
Oh, yeah, naturally,
foolish.
right? Naturally. Of course.
How foolish of us for even thinking it would touch mid. So, Nico top, you normally see it gone as AD, but since we have Comet here, it is just going to be AP Nico top as this pick into the Akali, which means you do get the Jax into the Zinzao, which is that big counter I was talking about in draft. As the W goes in, great chunk.
Yeah. Yeah, especially good that they got the damage down before Rue and Buss and Poots did hit that level 2 power spike, the ever important one in the bottom lane. But yeah, I mean, the shift is not exactly what anyone expected. Also, Ignites were both top laners up here, so no teleport's going to make this one a bit volatile situation. And as a result, it does mean that Sutek, wait, I forget that Sutek, wait, they're
on the wrong side of the
going
map.
to vertical jungler. Yeah, okay, we're going to opt into a vertical jungler. Sutek going to find out DeRiz and Ishon way too far to be able to follow up. Going to flash, takes a tower shot, not quite going to get the final proc damage on to DeRiz. but no flash on the brand. Does mean that we should suspect Sutek will be re-arriving in the mid lane in the near future.
Yeah, Brand is so vulnerable without his flash, especially because Ishan on this rise can just hit EW and get the instant root. Sutek is then going to have a free follow-up to get his knock-up, and Brand should be dead on mid-wave if he ever extends too far, if Sutek is in that area. And we touched on it for just a second. It's going to be the vertical jungling from both junglers. We saw
That's the last
Sutek
time we've seen that.
in a while. It's been a while. It's
Oh, hold on, forget that. Sutek going to gank once again. Grand Engines from Barolo going to put him too far away from Chrome Alone. Finally going to get to use the Battle Dance away. Chrome Alone going for it to actually try to find the kill onto Buss and Poots, but a bit too over-aggressive with it. The minions! The minions secure it to make it a 1-for-1 in the bottom lane. First blood goes over to Sutek, so the extra 100 gold over to Final Boss, but they are able to successfully trade it back for Conduit.
Of course, Nico is the Akali counter pick that we didn't know we needed, because even if Akali is in Shroud, the Q still lands. It's gonna be the
from
flash
Noodles. Ignite drop, trade of flashes up in the top lane, but will force the recall out of V-call as the
He's
wave
dead.
is pushing in. Surely not.
He's comfortable
seems
enough to stay
ill-advised.
because Noodle is low on mana. He probably doesn't think he has the spell cycle to kill him.
Actually, that is
That has to be why he's saying.
surely. Then he might actually be right, but Noodles will eventually get that mana back. Actually, Sutek will run into Nation, and they'll just kind of watch each other move away.
Yeah, they spot Nation on the respawn of the Raptor, force him out because Desrin has no flash to help.
Risen
Flash W is going to miss,
dodges
but he should
out
still be
the
dead.
W, snared up by Ishan, taking down to half HP. It does give the Scuttle Crab over to Nation, but bot lane Scuttle is still available. And well, actually Sutek pushes forward. You should know that the camps aren't back up.
I mean, he knows the Krugs are up, and that's what he's going for.
Yeah.
But Rakan is here spotting it right now, and Yika took a pretty bad trade in top. Sutek is probably going to, he's going to secure the grubs. He's going to be able to walk out with the help from Ryu coming down now, but he actually just goes back in. I don't know why.
Strike gets the stun onto Sutek. Not the Abyssal Dive hits its way onto two Grand Engines, going to slow Rue's escape. Nation gets the leap strike forward on Sutek. Flash, getting get one more auto attack necessary. Flash away from Rue, getting get the slow. She get the slow. Instead, I'm not sure why Sutek stopped walking back, but instead the turn front said too many times said Chromo now in trouble, going to be stunned up by the Q of Rue. The tongue lash hitting the mark. Flash forward from Buss and Poots, but the auto gets the damage onto the ADC of Final Boss. Rue is going to use the dive to escape. Buss and Poots gets a little bit too excited, but not in the good way on the reset. Instead, dies to Chrome Alone.
Man, we are flipping this bot lane right now. I
It's
think
crazy.
Sutek goes too far after securing the Krug. He just had out. Instead, goes back in with Rue over the top. And then I think, man, now Conduit is going too far. Nation commits everything to find that single kill, gets traded back, gives the reset over to Buss and Poots. But Conduit doesn't go too far either. Instead, it's Buss and Poots who steps too far and gets punished. Caitlyn has 2 kills now, about 20 farm up. She has a pickaxe and 2 longswords, and if we look at the items for the Jinx, it's a Cole. Like, this Jinx is gonna have a miserable time in this lane right now.
That is such a huge swing in the bottom lane. If Buss and Poots gets the kill instead of dying, it doesn't look nearly as dire as it is, but 20 CS up for Chrome Alone with the 2 kills. It's so much gold that now the matchup for Buss and Poots going to be... It's going to feel awful in the bot lane for Final Boss.
Yeah, it's you're also 2 levels down, by the way. Chrome Alone is level 6, and you're currently at level 4. So, like, what bot lane needs to do here for Conduit is maybe having to get shot.
Blossom comes through, gets the mark onto Yikal. Not quite enough to find the kill through the Ignite. Will almost certainly force a recall from the Akali.
Okay, so what I want to see here, bot, in order to push this lead, is they just need to play in between the wave and Buss and Poots, and just deny them from ever being an XP range. Like, if they just sit in between them with this level 6 from Chrome Alone, while the enemy bot lane is stuck on level 5, like they're doing right now. Not really doing right now. Like they should be doing right now. Their wave isn't in the best spot to do it. They sort of needed to shove in and then reset in the middle of the lane. But they get a good W.
Yeah, not going to be mattering all too much, at least in terms of the kill. We'll push in the wave a little bit further. Nation on the bottom half of the map with the Drake up and available. Considering how good this spot lane is going for Conduit, you gotta feel that it will very comfortably go into the hands of Conduit.
Yeah, and we were talking about Brand without flash, very, very vulnerable. Played it safe, didn't get killed, and now he's flashed back up for his lane. So, he's now once again sitting pretty in mid lane, feeling pretty comfortable. Nation is wasting a lot of time down here looking for a gank that they're not really setting up for. Caitlyn's been perma-shoving, so they're never going to make it to that bush in the first place, but Sutek is also hovering his way down here right now. I don't think the junglers know each other are here.
Yeah, Nation waiting in the bush. We'll get the counter-strikes done onto Rue, and this Tom Kinch going to be sliced up into sashimi. That thing, actually, I don't know. Catfish sashimi sounds awful. Now that I said that, you know what?
I don't like
do
seafood
that.
in general, so any seafood to me sounds awful. So I can
Well,
agree.
luckily for you, catfish is a freshwater fish, so it's not actually from the sea. But
We got Mr. Smart Guy over here.
either way, Grand Entrance finds a way onto Sutek, walks into the Yordle snap trap, and taking low. Chrome alone, the one secured. Puss and Poots walking forward to try to save his jungler. Luckily, Rue is there to help out her ADC, but it won't be enough. Nation gets the kill. Rue will get the shield eventually, but it actually won't be enough either. Chrome alone picks up a 4th kill of the game. 7-2 to Conduit. Up 3k gold, looking to close out the series 3-1 and have put themselves in a great position to do so. Yikal, though, going to try to find an all-in onto Noodles for 2. The snare under the tower, not nearly going to be enough, but the ignite is to make it a trade for one for one of solo kills in the top lane.
I mean, Yikaw keeps his ignite, so he has that for his next engage, but overall it is a 1-for-1 trade in top that gives Noodle his proto belt now, and Ishan is going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Has to use the flash.
Flashes
Is there
from the counter-strike. Risen gets this on the fireball. Grand entrance hits the mark onto Ishan. Another kill goes over to Conduit, this time to Risen. 9-3 to Conduit, and
I need to pull up my list of synonyms for bad again.
yeah. All right, let's hear it. What's the newest one?
The first one I saw is sucky.
Maybe. I
don't
don't know
think
if
it's
that's
that good.
exactly. Yeah.
You know what? Here's a better one. Shoddy. A shoddy early game.
Before it get to that, Sutek going to be charmed up by the swiftness ruse. Engage.
Gold.
Not going to hit the mark. Pop Blossom finds its way onto all 3 members. Risen gets one. The other one goes to Nation. Yikal stuck in the midst of Conduit. Double kill for Nation. 12-3 to Conduit. And the grubs all going to go into the hands of the blue side.
Yeah,
It's,
that's a bit vile. There you go. And it just feels like, I mean, we felt this in the game 3 early game as well. It was just a little bit of chokeage in the mid game from Conduit. They just have complete control of this early game. They're winning every single lane again. Their jungler is 5-1 now. It feels like they have complete control of the map, and really, I know it is early. I know it's only 11 minutes into the game, but it just feels like it's theirs to lose right now with how much of a lead they have in every single lane.
Yeah, and it's... Yeah, that's just about summarizes it. I mean, the no words I could say would summarize the state of the game more so than just looking at the top of your screen. Sutek going to get the nod onto Bartolo. Ishan not going to want to be here for the foreseeable future. Luckily, Barolo had already used the Grand Entrance, so there's no way to really lock down the mid laner of Final Boss. And actually, with Rue and Buss and Poots arriving, lots getting committed from Final Boss. Interestingly enough, though, because there's not really anything for them to fight over.
Yeah, and with how much time they're spending trying to rotate up just to make sure their teammate is safe, they start losing XP on the side. Jinx loses a couple of minions. It's going to keep her level disadvantage and the farm disadvantage. And if they keep on doing that pulling while they are still down in this game, they're going to find themselves even farther down. Because Conduit doesn't need anything to happen to keep finding themselves a lead. If Final Boss keeps committing into these rivers to hover, they will slowly just lose out on more XP, they will slowly just lose out on more gold, and Conduit will just continue winning.
Yeah, and exactly what they aim to do. Sitting now over 5k gold up at 13 minutes. They've got a decent amount of scaling as well, though admittedly it's pretty evenly matched by Final Boss, if not even more so, but still getting a tier 1 tower at 13 minutes.
Yeah, you feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
pretty happy.
And actually, teleport up from the Nico will pinch in Yeehaw. Got his vision now. Pop Blossom going to hit the mark, and so the counter strike extends the CC. Nation picks up his 6th kill of the game. Yeah.
What if it just got worse?
Yeah.
What if it just got worse? Right now, the only point Final Boss can really rely on is Ishan. Because he is Rise, he has his first item, he's not super far down in terms of the overall game. He's only died once while everyone else has died 3 times, but I mean, you're really picking at straws when you're looking at that and saying, this can be our carry. It is not a good spot for Final Boss right now. Another tier 1 is going to go down into the top side. At 14 minutes, it's what is that, 7k gold lead? It's getting ugly.
Yeah. 7k at 14 minutes is not ideal. It's not
optimal.
No. I mean, it will make the comeback all that much more insane if it does happen, but ideally you don't want to put yourself in the situation. Nation's Counter-Strike gets the stun onto Rue. It may have gone a bit too far for himself. Barolo with the grand entrance and the swiftness will get the space that Final Boss needs to spend out, but Chromalone's finally alive. Sutek's healing up as much as possible. Super Mega Death Rocket not quite going to kill Nation, so Bustin's going to have to flash away. Secures the kill from Comalone, who's gone too far forward. Shutdown goes over to Sutek, and now in the back line, Yeehaw going to pick up a shutdown for himself. Barolo flashing away from the tongue lash, but it won't be in time. Another shutdown goes over to Yeehaw. Okay, wait a second. Hold up. No. We're not doing this. We're not giving over a 7k gold lead at 14 minutes to Final. This is...
Conduit played that probably as horribly as they could. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
Desrin tries to force his way in to find the brand ult, so he's frontlining against everyone. It doesn't work out for him. He dies. Chromalone flashes into the backline to kill Buss and Poots, which means he's just dead in the backline now. He has no follow. Nation, before the fight even started, was diving into the top Kench in between 4 people to get, 200 damage of chip? Which means he can't join the fight properly. Borolo is punished for his team's sins and dies on the back to keep Nation alive. It was just really horribly played from Conduit. There's no nice way to say it. It was ugly, it was bad, and they cannot do that, especially with the lead that they have.
Yeah, and so it's a lifeline for Final Boss. They cut their gold deficit down to 4k. Still a very sizable deficit that they find themselves at, but 2 of those shutdowns went into the hands of Yeehaw, completing his Hextech Gunblade as a result. We'll be feeling a bit better. Flash forward from Derizen. Pop Blossom finds its way onto 2. Buss and Poots has no chance to escape. Neither does Rue. Chromalone to secure that kill onto the support of Final Boss. Nation going to make it a 3rd onto Sutek. So just as quickly as Final Boss found a potential angle back into it, we return to our regularly scheduled programming.
There we go. A much better engage from Conduit with the Nico ult for all of those roots. The knockups over the top just to secure all the kills. Bot tier 1, it's close. They probably take it unless Nico commits the TP off the base. But mid tier 2 gets cracked off the back of those 3 kills. I think top tier 2 may die here as well. I don't think Ishan can hold it all by himself. As I say that,
actually, the damage finds its way onto Nation. on the rise. So Ishan picks up a big shutdown for himself. Once again, Conduit just getting a little bit too carefree, and Risen, Chromalone both very low. Ishan trying to find a follow-up, will have access to the Realm Warp now, and will not choose to use it. Instead, they take their victories where they can and look to extend the lead. Barolo and Boots, they're fine.
I think I understand. Nation's been paid off. It's the only explanation. It's so confusing that he did that play on Tom Kenshin bot side. I don't know why he's sitting under tower trying to counterstrike rise spells at 500 health when your two ranged people can just take the tier 2 top for free. It's just two ugly plays back to back from Nation that get pretty hard punished. Now Rue is gonna get the Brandle, but look at that damage.
Yeah. Chokes Sutek out more than enough to dissuade anything from Final Boss. Rift Herald goes the way of Conduit, who still see themselves with a 5k gold lead. A fairly comfortable lead, but considering how these last few plays have gone, it's maybe not as comfortable as they would have liked.
Yeah, and they do get the Herald, but big key here is that Yikog gets the tower in bot side, and basically all you want Herald for is a tower. So if you're trading a tower while the enemy team take Herald, it's basically even overall on the map. Once that Herald takes a tower, you traded it 1 for 1 in the grand scheme of things. Oh no, you lost the 50 gold on the last hit of the Herald, but that's about it. So pretty good play on Final Boss to find that bot tier 1 on the side.
Also take a look at the items of Ishan. We talked about him earlier about being the one potential hope that Final Boss has to be able to get back into this game. Already has the Saris Embrace completed. Rod of Ages more than halfway to getting fully stacked. And so just the Actualizer away from hitting huge power spike, but Noodles for 2 finds the Pop Blossom onto 3. The Devour from Rue will get Puss and Poots away. Good reactions from the Tom Kinch to make that all right in the end.
Yeah, able to save their ADC, and they were full diving onto that Jinx. So we saw Sutek also get knocked up, but didn't get hit at all. They were way too focused on Puss and Poots on the Jinx, and everyone is able to escape with their life. Now we have 30 seconds until this Drake spawns, and now Noodles doesn't have Pop Blossom for it. That's a pretty big teamfight ult that they're going to be missing. But look how much damage Rue has already taken in this chunk. Already down to half health. It's going to be a fight over mid wave, but Branda clears it so fast. Looks like we're just trying to flip this Drake, but I don't think Final Boss has a good chance.
Asian going to find the counter strike. Noodles for 2 secretly there. Chrome alone to find a kill on C-Tech. Yikal tries to find the Risen, won't quite have the damage now. Abyssal dive from Rue finds the knockup onto a few, but not enough follow-up to be able to secure the kills for Final Boss. And now Leap Strike forward from Nation gets the kill onto Puss and Poots. Stun finds its way onto Ishan. Double kill for the Jax. Yikal the only one to survive, and Conduit convincingly take the fight around the Drake to give themselves their second.
Final Boss has no true tank to face check towards the Drake. They're so far behind that even with Akali trying to find the way into the backline in the Shroud to get burst, no damage is able to come down. It's just a 4-for-0 wipe. Drake is going to be taken off the back of it. And, I mean, how do Final Boss get back into this game? I answer, I don't know. Like, it is so hard for them in this game now. Jinx is 1-6. Your Rise.
Yikal may have found a low Risen though. The swiftness will be used to find the charms and slow the advance of Final Boss, but another shutdown finds its way into the hands of Yikal. Barolo going to flash over the wall and use the grand entrance to escape. But
Flip Baron.
But Yikal, they might do.
Just flip Baron. Just send it.
They are starting it up. Nation is alive.
Baby.
Teleports are coming through. And actually, well, they've kind of moved off it now in the hopes of finding another straggling member of Conduit. So they have slowed their advance. Risen is back up in 15. Yikal goes forward, tries to find his way onto Barolo, but instead gets hit by the Yordle Snap Trap. In second cast of the perfect execution gets Yeet Call away and finds a good amount of damage onto Noodles for 2, but Chromalone will can't find the kill onto the Akali Nation, moving forward with the counter strike. Leap strike will expire before he can get the stun. A good use of the Devourer onto Sutek will buy the time he needs to get alive. Goes forward a bit too far, foe into the hands of the Risen. Rue gets hit by the fireball and the escape is dealt with. Clean ace goes the way of Conduit. Double kill for Chromalone and Baron on top of it. It was the angle final boss needs to hopefully get back into it, but it's not nearly enough. Conduit up 8k gold.
I don't hate that final boss went for the Baron flip. I just don't like how they played it. They waited on the Baron for the start, so Brand had time to respawn and get back. We saw that the Akali from Econ was just disconnected from his whole team, so once he died, it was just a straight 4v4. And then Noodles for 2 found the Flash Proto Belt Pop Blossom onto 3 people in the back, completely turning that fight. Like, the Baron call to try and flip it is the correct play, it just was not played correctly, and they are hard punished for it. Now find themselves 8k down, staring down the face of a Baron. They probably won't be able to end off of this Baron is the good news. The first Baron almost never ends the game, but it already sort of feels like the game is ended.
Yeah, it's not good for final boss, simply put. You might need to open up the thesaurus again, and it's a sneaky Pop Blossom from Noodles for 2, sneaking their way in as the Scryers Bloom Rue in trouble as well. Buss and Poots will stay alive for a little bit longer. Chromalone gets the kill on to Ishan. And now Yikal doing his best to try to escape and lick the wounds of final boss. But it's just a continuing story of game 4. Conduits now find themselves 10k gold up. The counter-strike, leap strike from Nation gets the stun onto Yikal, finds yet another kill to the hands of Conduit. Nation picks up his 9th of the game.
That may just be
Will be slowed. Top lane tier 3 tower. It could very well be. It's only Sutek, Buss and Poots, and Rue around to be able to hold down the fort for final boss. Another 7 seconds for Ishan will be enough for the respawn to come through and dissuade Conduit from ending the game for the time being.
Yeah, they have such a big gold lead. It's now up to 12k off of those kills in the towers that they feel no need to flip it. Oh, Harold's still here. Hi, Shelly.
Oh, hey.
Thanks for the bot tier 2.
Yeah.
They feel no need to flip the game at all. They're just going to spend all of the gold they just got off the back of that and then make the push for the end.
Yeah, and I mean, if they really must, Infernal Drake spawning in 45 seconds would. I mean,
I think they will go for the Drake. They don't need to, but they will.
Yeah, because it'll give them soul point, which it feels good.
Which is very important in this game.
Yeah, because final boss are going to have such an easy time, fighting back, and being able to maybe no, I'm not even going to try it. It's 11k.
Chromalone just emoting on him.
It's just an 11k deficit. Chromalone, this is how little they care. They're just going to camp out in front of the Drake and not even try to set up a death bush. They're just that confident of their chances.
Like, they don't even need to do this. They can just 5-man bot and end the game. They don't need this Drake at all. They just want it for the stat page.
Yeah, I mean, it is the safe play. That's
the 2% extra damage you get is securing the game here.
Yeah, so much.
Sorry, 3%.
It's actually 3%.
Ooh, it's 1% more.
Whoa. Yes.
Wait a minute now.
Thank you, Loki, for the correction.
How
final
foolish
boss.
I am.
Going to get an objective
Just play bot.
bounty.
Just play bot. Why are we mid? We don't need to be. Just 5-man bot. Just kill.
Now the recall from Ishan finally going to come through. Make this a 5v5 in the bot lane, but with the super minions pushing in mid and top will eventually force the attention away from Final Boss, away from Noodles for 2 as a minion. Pop Blossom onto 3 once again, hits the mark onto Puss and Poots. The Jinx is gone. Yecall finds way onto the back line, tries to get Thurston, in fact does, but immediately goes down to make it a 2-for-1. Sutek going to get hit by the Yordle Snap Trap, goes forward onto Chrome alone, but not nearly going to have the damage. Finally goes down, triple kill for Chrome alone. Ishan going to walk to Snap Trap himself, will get the kill on to Chrome alone, and so Nation, the only one left alive, is an ace for
Nation,
Conduit. They've got to
figure it
push
out.
Nation. You just walk through the mid lane. There we go. Yes, okay. I mean, apparently there was a blast cone there for
He
you
doesn't
as
end here.
well.
Jinx is up in 5 seconds.
Jinx is up in 5. Did use the counter strike there as well. Does have a lot of damage available in his kit though. Puss and Poots going to lob some super mega death rocket, hits the mark onto Nation, autoing away, will be blocked by the counter strike now on the Nexus. Will have to just back away. He can honestly turn away. He's got enough minions, won't even matter. In 28 minutes, Conduits absolutely destroy Final Boss, dismantling it in an emphatic fashion. And as an exclamation mark to end their series, 3-1 victors. Nobody gave Conduit any sort of chance as to be the one to make this lower bracket run. And yet here they are finding themselves going to grand finals. Yeah, fair play Conduit. I didn't
just
expect
cracked the
this.
code.
Yeah. They just caught on fire. They were just, you know what? Regular season doesn't matter, according to Conduit. And, yeah.
I mean, they just
All of
caught
their-
fire in that Game 3 early game, carried it over to Game 4, and, you know, looking at this draft, looking at the previous games, you think, man, they have a chance to get into the late game. Every game has been around 40 minutes. We have the Rise, we have the Jinx. Maybe we can scale into it, but this one just ends in 28 instead.
It could have been
Conduit just
quicker, for being honest.
absolutely dismantling this game, securing themselves a 3-1 victory and moving on to the finals and Premier to face Monkeys.
Yeah, and so congratulations, Conduit Esports, upsetting the odds, defying all of our expectations here in the Blue Otter Premier League. Commiserations to Final Boss, but despite how that final game went as their first season in the Blue Otter Premier League, gotta admit that is a very good opening, very good first showing overall when you count the season as a whole. Fortunately, that will be it for them. As you mentioned, Conduit will go on to face the literal Monkeys in the grand finals. As tomorrow is Father's Day, the match has been rescheduled to a later date. But for now, that'll be it from us on the broadcast here. I've been Isaac, alongside me has been Pelly. Running things behind the scenes has been, Loki, making all the magic work. And from everyone at the Blue Otter League, we wish you a good night from us.